perfect together, but you hurt me so much that I had to leave you. Girl, I thought that you better, we'll be perfect together, but you hurt me so much that I had to leave you. We'll be perfect together, but you hurt me so much that I had to leave you. Girl, I thought that you better, we'll be perfect together, but you hurt me so much that I had to leave you.
Alrighty. What's up, guys? What's up, 3am? How you doing, man? Hope you're Gucci, bro. I'm good, and you, man? I'm great, bro. Yo, Mazer, what's up, bro? How you doing, man? Hope you're Gucci. Let me know if you guys can hear the audio pretty clearly. Also, just wanna move this around a little bit. That's right. Should be Gucci. Yeah, audio lit. I'd bet.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's good? We're here at the first ever COD Mobile World Championships. We're here in Raleigh, North Carolina, where we've got 16 teams from all across the globe gathered together for a $1.7 million prize pool. But wait, I'm here in person. I don't need to be on mobile anymore.
Oh my gosh, that feels so much better. We are here. The action is starting right now. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the COD Mobile World Championships.
He's able to single-handedly
Right. I'm great, bro. I'm great.
Watch the gunfight fighting through!
Tectonic went on like an 8 spree. He's still going.
Shot will land. 1v1. Marvel able to take down Neil. Timing goes. To come through, he takes down a second.
Another one getting connected.
Shot will land. 1v1.
This is looking like the end of our grand final.
This is how it happens.
They gotta win ASAP if they want to make it happen right there.
Hope you guys are ready for the champs.
The best of the best.
Hello and welcome outside the shadows of the Appalachian Mountains here in the Tar Heel state of North Carolina. We're in Raleigh, North Carolina, right outside of North Carolina State University for the Call of Duty Mobile 2022 World Championships. We've had 16 teams qualify through 4 stages of action to represent their region and stake their claim to being the best team in the world. Hi everyone, I'm Daniel Digon Gonzalez and welcome to Raleigh, North Carolina for the COD Mobile 2022 World Championship. I'm not doing it alone. Joining me is the man that kicked it all off. It's Bobby Plays and the mommy that knows everything that we need to know for Call of Duty Mobile. It's me, mommy.
Something to eat.
How you feeling?
I can't stop smiling right now. I'm so excited. I've been waiting for this for so long, 3 years in the making. These teams have practiced so hard. They put so much on the line. Having everybody gathered together in this same arena, man, you can feel the energy.
Oh, it feels so great. I'm so giddy. And like what you said, it feels so much better to be here on land. And we've had it so long in our list of things to do. Everyone's here in the stadium. Everyone's here at home. If you're not here, it's been absolutely massive. All these teams are representing one another. They're all back there. They're all ready.
Yeah, and all this action happening as what I'd like to call part of CODapalooza. We got CDL coming back here, Raleigh. We've got Challengers, we got Warzone event, and of course, the main event that you all are here for, the Call of Duty Mobile World Championship. But it's been a long journey to get here, 4 stages throughout the year up until this stage number 5. So let's take a look back at how we got here.
Welcome to the Call of Duty Mobile 2022 World Championship.
Yeah, I can turn a facecam on if you want.
Best teams in the world have played through 4 stages to narrow down the
Just let me
best
know
teams
and I'll do
in
it
their
for you.
respective regions. And now the top 16 teams from North America, Europe, Latin America, India, Japan, China, and Southeast Asia are all competing live for the first time ever when they drop in Raleigh, North Carolina. These qualified teams will be divided into 4 groups. You lose twice here, you're out. Only 8 teams will make it out alive.
My support's practically on Tribe, and Animus, they on the stamina knife, I'm not mistaken. And yeah, that's about it. I don't know about Garena, because Garena don't have enough exposure to global competitive.
Playing for all the glory. Oh, and a piece of the $1.7 million prize pool. This is it. Time to clutch up, go home. Whether you're joining us in Raleigh, watching us from home, or in-game, this is your last chance to see the best of the best. You don't want to miss it. This is the Call of Duty Mobile World Championships 2022.
So that's how we got here. That's the format that we're playing at, and it's been great to be back in person in LAN. You see some of the teams there on the stage. Had the opportunity to talk to Stamina a little bit, how they have a mixed roster of experience being on LAN. You got to see the Pinoy boys as well down at the end with Smart Omega. Like, having the teams here in person has been a lot of fun, Beef Mom.
Oh, most definitely. And a lot of these teams don't have the experience of having that first LAN event. So this is going to be the first time. Might have the first time jitters, but I hope that really they're going to get over it very soon, because it's going to be a long 3 days, and this group stage, they need to make it quick.
Yeah, and not everyone can be like Bobby here, who obviously has no jitters of going from phone to the stage. Bobby, if you had to give some advice on to these players and these teams that are going to be on the stage, what would you give to them?
I would just say take it one game at a time. I think especially in an event of this magnitude, you can get in your head and kind of get in your own way. I think the biggest thing for them is focusing on whatever it is that's the task at hand, and I think if they do that, they'll be able to perform at their best.
That's right, one step at a time, and then they can start moving towards that big prize pool of $1.7 million. And let's take a look at the breakdown of how that works thanks to HyperX. Now, this is a massive prize pool at $1.7 million, and notably, That's a lot of money at the top there, Beep.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. If you try to convert that into your own currency, because we already know that all these teams came from different countries, make it peso, make it rupee, euros, pounds, and yen. You already know at home that is a lot of cash. But obviously, looking down at the very bottom, 15,000 USD, all of these teams are actually coming home with a little bit of something, but obviously they want that 700,000 USD.
That's right. Either the top team or second or third for some of the regions, and so making sure you come home with something is pretty good. Let's take a look at our 16 teams that qualified in the regions that they represent here. You've got the LATAM teams, the Indian teams, the one Japanese team, and we'll definitely dive into Scars in a little bit. The Garena teams, the Southeast Asian teams, Almighty from Indonesia, Smart Omega from the Philippines, Strut, Stamina, and Nova are European teams, and then NYSL Mayhem, Tribe Gaming, and the newly signed Luminosity from North America. We close it out with Q9 and Wolves. We take a look at all 16 teams here. Bobby, I'll start with you first. Which is the team that is your favorite here?
Obviously, I've spent a lot of time casting the North American region, and there's one team that has dominated both in North America and in the Western Championships last year. That's Tribe Gaming. It's really difficult to not pick them, at least to be a favorite for the top three. You look at the performance that they had last year, I would say across the board upgraded their roster. They're going to be really, really tough to beat. Beef Mommy, what you thinking?
Oh man, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of a no situation here. I have to choose their first opponent. Q9, they seem so solid this year because they've had a really good run 2021, but obviously they got sent down pretty early on. But hey, this year it looks like it's going to be a different deal. I'm so excited to see the first matchup. But honestly, for today, it's hard to tell because it's the first time that all of these teams are actually going up against each other in LAN. So I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Right. I'll throw in, because I want to throw one in. Almighty, you saw it there in the lower third there. The team from Indonesia has shown like, hey, they can stick with it, and with some of the Chinese teams as well. All right, let's take a look at the tournament schedule because we've got a whole weekend ahead of us here in Raleigh. Today's action is the group stage. It's lots of matches going on at all times, and we'll be here with you through every single group stage match, a little bit of the quarters of the champs bracket. Then on Saturday, after short break Friday, we've got the champs and elimination brackets where we will whittle down our teams that have won through the group stage to the final two, which we will see on Sunday, where they compete for nice little cash change, but more importantly, the title and the crown. So let's take a look at our group stages now. These are our groups. So our 4 groups of 4, and we have lots of groups that have different storylines throughout here. Bobby, pick one of them for me.
I think Group A is going to be the most exciting overall. I think every single one of those teams matches up decently against one another. And I think, especially with that being our first match of the day, I'm really excited to see the Kings of India go up against NYSL Mayhem. These are both very experienced teams. They've been in Stage 4 every single year that they've participated for the majority of the players on those rosters. So it's going to be a great way to kick off the tournament.
For me, I'm gonna have to go with Group C. We already know it's kind of heavy where we have Tribe Gaming going up first against Q9 Club. You already know these teams are gonna absolutely dominate. But again, there's a lot of interesting storylines here as well because of Scars. They had a 100% win rate, did not drop a single map in Stage 4, but they are definitely the question mark in this group. Can they perform as well as they did in their Stage 4 run? And also right below them, Influence Kemen actually was the LATAM representation for that 2020 run, but obviously roster changes and all of that. Let's see if they're as strong as the first year of the COD champs.
That's right, a little bit of a legacy there through with Influence Kemen, but that's going to be a really fun one we see in our second set of matches of the day. Right off the top, Tribe and Q9, like these are tournament favorites. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Now, speaking of watching, be sure to tune in to the broadcast in-game throughout the week to earn free rewards just by watching. The longer you watch, the better the rewards. What's your favorite reward that you're going to earn this weekend?
You already know, Iskra's gonna be my girl. My favorite color is purple. You can see it on my shirt, you can see it on my hair. So I'm glad to see so many purple colors, not just in the kilo, but also in the characters that we have as well. How about you, Bobby? Like, you already know you're pretty excited for this.
I mean, I just already know as soon as I get home, first rank lobby I'm in, it's gonna be 10 Iskra skins running around everywhere. So I'm fully prepared for that.
All right, well, the graffiti everywhere. Hopefully they'll be able to splatter some fun within by just simply watching. And there's lots of gameplay way for you to see this tournament. We want you to see every single match possible. That's why we'll have 4 streams of gameplay all day long. You'll get to see your favorite team play no matter where they're at. Go to the COD Mobile Esports YouTube page, and you can find Bravo, Charlie, and Delta streams with these 3 matches. So make sure that you pop open those extra tabs, and you can watch wherever you want. All right, next up, let's dive into the group stages, right? We talked about the group stages as a whole, but let's dive into a specific group, and we'll start with Group B. Now, Bobby, this one is a little bit different than I think some of the other groups, because I think as experts, you all have decided this feels a little lopsided with the top and the bottom teams.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a predictable one. Obviously, we're at stage 5. We're on land.
Yep.
All excuses are off the table right now. So there are 2 teams, Strut and Vitality, that I think coming into this, not a ton of people expect a lot out of. But this is a completely new environment. That mentality on the stage is going to change for a lot of people. And I think if they've got some really mentally tough players that can power through, they might be able to come out on top. But my favorites coming out of this one, definitely going to be Wolves and Inko.
Thoughts on B?
Yeah, definitely Wolves might have an advantage because they've been playing LAN for such a long time, the same as Q9. So they do have quite the advantage when it comes to this setup. But also, negative for that one also is the fact that they've played a different rule set. So that's probably one of the advantages that Strut might actually have. And also the addition of one player that is very strong. That's going to be iFerg that might make the biggest difference.
Right. I have to push back a little bit, though. The player base in India and the fandom in India is huge. So Vitality have a huge, I think, weight on their shoulders to make sure that they can live up to how they play, though. So what do you think about Vitality here in this situation?
Well, again, India has been a really mixing pot of really good players that have been really performing. And they had their last matchup after stage 4 where they actually beat Godlike. And it was really nice to see that Godlike finally had a little bit of competition against this team. So again, they really deserve to be in this spot. And the fact that they have Sams in their team, I feel like it's going to be a definite killer.
Yeah, I feel like Sams is the game changer for them. He has stepped up massively this year. The performances that he's had on a consistent basis, I would say right now he's probably the best player in India. So for me, he's the player to watch for them.
All right, well, we'll see how it stacks up. As Group B, we're going to be keeping an eye on Vitality and Strut to see if they can get some of those upsets, but this one feels pretty locked on in. Now, Group B done and dusted. Let's move on over to Group A. I believe this is the one that you said was the most exciting group in the whole tournament. Why is that?
I think just because nobody really knows what to expect, because you have 2 1 seeds, but they're not, at least as far as what I've asked the players about, they're not really considered to be the strongest 1 seeds in the tournament. And then you've got a couple 2 and 3 seeds from regions like North America and Garena that are considered to be a little bit more experienced and have better competition. So there's no way of really knowing. The one thing I will say for Stamina Esports especially, they've got a lot of players that have been in stage 4 every single year. I think that that amount of experience and that leadership is going to pay off big time.
Well, Beef Mommy, when we take a look at this bracket brought to you by Republica Gamers, do you feel like there's an upset brewing here, or how would you decide it's an upset? Because as Bobby was saying, number 1s are like still a little bit weaker region. Maybe we're still figuring that out.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these teams really need to find their footing and find that consistency. And so far, I think Stamina does have a little bit of an edge when it comes to that. But they're going up against Omega, and they qualified for 2020. They were able to get a lot of those points, but last year they fell short. This year they started very strong in the first half, in the first 2 quarters of the year. But here at the very end, they absolutely had kind of a disappointing run in CDFI. But knowing Omega, they have a switch. If they're backed up in a corner, they can go and perform.
So then I'm going to put you guys on the spot. Who is the favorite in this Group A? Let's start with you, Beef Mommy.
Well, I'm just going over the fan base here. Omega has a huge fan base in the Philippines. We already know that the viewership there is absolutely huge. So I'm just going here because I'm Filipino as well. So I'm going to go with the boys of Omega.
All right, Bobby.
I think I've got to go with Stamina. I talked about that experience factor, and I think that's going to pay off big time. They've also got a rookie in Guthilia who has been phenomenal. great OBJ player and does a lot of the dirty work for the team, so may get overlooked in some of the stat lines, but he's definitely a big impact player for them.
Are you telling me the NYSL Bobby didn't pick his NYSL?
I gotta be unbiased,
what?
Okay?
You said earlier that as the North American viewer.
I can be biased towards North America. That's different. That's different.
All right. Well, none of this would be possible without some of our friends making things happen. And so one of those friends is Republic of Gamers. ROG Phone 6 is equipped with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 CPU that boosts performance and speed to take your mobile gaming experience to a new level. Its unrivaled performance puts it in a class of its own. Thank you so much, ROG. And look at that. Both hand models as well. Beef Mommy showing the love, and Bobby giving a little finger dance there. But thank you very much to the ROG Phone supporting Call of Duty Mobile. Guys, I'm feeling very excited here because we're right on the cusp of the World Championship. It's been such a long road here. And, you know, I'm thinking of a team even like Wolves, right? Yes, they're the favorite, but the travel that has been involved, it definitely could take a toll on you.
Oh, most definitely, because I came from a very far off place too. A lot of these teams really traveled long hours to get to this point, and I feel like it's all worth it because we waited 3 years. What is like a few hours of flight by that 3 years that we've been waiting this whole time?
Yeah, I definitely feel like jet lag could play in. I think especially if you look at that Group A Omega, 2 of their players just arrived yesterday. So they haven't gotten quite as much scrim time. Hopefully they got rested up and hopefully they're feeling ready to go. But there's a few players from a couple of different squads that flights got delayed, whatever it is. I think you look at Godlike as well. It took them a while to get their visas, so they were a little bit delayed. Hopefully those guys have been rested up because it is a long day of Call of Duty Mobile ahead.
Yeah, well, we are going to get into it. While we are setting up our alpha match, we're jumping into Group B. It's that top match right there, the #1 seed from this group, or Wolves versus Strut here. This will be on Stream Charlie over at our esports here. Wow, that's not a score that we expected after setting things up. We were saying that Wolves was going to be the #1. Didn't expect too much out of Strut. Strut looking pretty good here.
Oh my goodness, this is what I was telling you guys. Strut, knowing very well that they got a key player on their team, and that's going to be a for them. But again, this is going to be really big points. 151 and 69. Wolves seems to be like they're struggling a little bit, but looks like they're gaining a lot of momentum here in P1.
I'm throwing all the predictions out there. Anything that I said. This is the #1 seed coming out of China, who I feel like a lot of these players expect to be up at the top. One thing I will say about Wolves, they are a streaky team. So they beat Q9 4-0 in their finals for their stage 4, but then you hop over to CDFI, they pretty much got waxed going up against Q9 in that same matchup. So
yeah,
we'll see if they can pick things up, but definitely off to a slow start going up against the #3 seed from Europe right here.
Slowly but surely though, Wolves trying to gain a little bit more of an advantage here, but it's going to be a great setup so far coming in from Strut. They have 2 players and the rest of their team kind of going for the catch-up when it comes to the anchoring point. Gas station, 3 players already occupying that power position that you really want to get a hold of, and now so far looks like a good cleanup coming in from the side of Wolves.
Right now, it looks like Wolves is fighting back. That's what you expect to see out of a team that's this experienced. And one other thing that we talked about is the factor of LAN experience. The China teams are the only ones that have consistently played on LAN. Obviously, you have Almighty and Omega who played in the one LAN tournament that we had in Garena, but a much different environment. So it looks like Wolves starting to climb back into this one. And we see some streaks start to build right here. This could snowball very, very quickly as that gap is closing, and it's not happening slowly. Signs
of life from Wolves, and if you guys at home are wondering why we're watching Wolves and Strut, this is the Charlie stream as we wait for the main stage in Alpha with Godlike Esports versus NYSL Mayhem, and now it's definitely going to be an extra special challenge here for Wolves to try and get a lot of points here down in P3. It looks like they'll Strut bring out the Annihilator for boot, 21 to his name, looking like they want to hold this down.
This just shows you how strong the competition is in this tournament. The fact that we've got a 3 seed taking it to a 1 seed this early on, great sign. Rasmo absolutely mowed him down with the SKS right there. Big time coming in here over on P3, and right now he's got some streaks to work with, might be able to build toward that pred as well, and looks like they're starting to take control of the game once again.
Yeah, Razmo's been leading the way for this squad in terms of kills, and I think one of the major reasons why this upset is in place in the first place. Again, almost 50 points away for the domination and our first upset in our very first match.
So many points already that Strut was able to just solidify in that particular hill. And not just that though, looking like they want to go in for that solid rotation going into P4 and Bakery. Only one player from Wolves actually only has that, so it's very possible that Strut is going to easily go inside, especially knowing very well that they do have the util to go in there for the break.
You talked about one of the bigger factors for Strut being the fact that iFerg is going to play. He's not even here. You got your X Factor, and he's not even in the lineup, and they are still taking it to Wolves right now. Early rotations here, but it looks like Strut's going to get the break from the opposite side. Zai going to be able to hold down boxes right here, gets taken down. Utility going out to slow down the push. They're waiting on the reinforcements right now. They got to make it in quick, and obviously a couple of those additional score streaks taken out of the equation. No Goliaths in the Stage 5 championships. It is all gun skill with a couple of exceptions right here. Strut trying to make a push on in, but looks like Wolves are going for the full 60.
Man, kind of a waste of the Annihilator going in there just alone. And, you know, it's really hard to spam the Annihilator, especially when you're greeted by 3 players of Wolves. 212 and 177. Still very close when it comes to the points here. Wouldn't be too comfortable if I was Strut. And now the rotation going to Grannies is going to be essential. And it looks like a full 60 going in from Wolves here in P4.
You can really see the gun skill shining from Wolves as they're trying to mount this comeback right now. And one thing I will say that the Chinese teams are really good about is the pre-fire around those crucial corners, especially when you're on land. That's going to be a huge advantage to get that extra little bit of edge in a gunfight. But it is Strut. Early rotation here on P1. Wolves shut him down, but Razmo goes big. He's able to find 2. Zai trades back. The MVP of the most recent China Masters season. He's going big, but Boots got something to say. Right now, Strut only 15 seconds away from closing out their map 1.
Boots giving them the boot with the Annihilator. Really good timing over there. And not just that, Razmo with a 41 has been an absolute slayer, but his Sokka getting so many kills already, flushing down one of the players in Wolves. 17 seconds left on this hill with how many seconds left? 5 points left for a Strut win. Having a very early win here coming in from Strut. Just impressing everyone, but the contest comes through, but it doesn't really matter. Our first win of the day. Strut from EU gets that first dub.
Predictions aren't the win. I don't know. I don't know. Shout out to those guys. First matchup of the Stage 5 World Championship, and they're already impressing us right now. I'm even more excited to watch the rest of this tournament.
Whew. What an intense matchup that we saw, and we went in there pretty late into the hardpoint game, Bobby, and that was so impressive to see that Strut was actually leading by a huge margin. But for me, honestly, one of the players that we really have to look at is Razmo. 43 with the SKS, and that's the reason why that we love to see this gun, especially in a map like this where you can definitely take that distance to your advantage.
Yeah, I mean, we said earlier, we saw him try to 1v3 with the Annihilator. We're like, what is he doing? Well, he's got 43 kills. He's been top in the charts. He's like, oh, I'll get that back real easy. No problem, no problem. And as you said earlier, the gun skill, the pre-fire coming out of Zai, coming out of Nian earlier from Wolves, it was there, it was impressive. But once the point was being taken by Strut, it really felt like it was kind of very difficult for Wolves to break. Not a lot of breaks for them.
Hardpoint, no question, on the weekend is going to be the worst game mode for these Chinese teams because they've been playing on a different rule set. They've been playing with persistence, which completely changes the way that the game is played. So a lot of times they just play it like one big TDM. Requires a lot less teamwork, and that's been the biggest difficulty that I've seen for a lot of these teams is adjusting to that. The game mode you got to watch out for them in, search and destroy. 60+% of their games are search and destroy. Some of the best snipers in the world. I think game 2 might look a little bit different.
China teams are the best in the world in search and destroy, and I'm very confident in that fact. Q9 Wolves, they definitely have that in the bag. So people say that S&Ds wins you championships, but like we saw over there, we do have control and hardpoint to really take care of. So hopefully we get to see a lot of these teams know that fact. But again, we're going back to the topic of Wolves, trying to adjust into the new rule set that they're not really that used to.
Right.
I feel that was a huge point when it comes to that hardpoint matchup against them.
And one of of the beautiful things about having a LAN, bringing East and West together to see these types of things. Yes, you can say S&D, very great, but look how susceptible it is. That's China #1 against Europe #3, and still it was a massive lead when we started. Wolves found a way back in the middle, but then again, not used to it as much as an S&D, I'd say here, Bob.
Yeah, you can't gun skill your way through a hard point, which is different from what most people think that hard point is, but it's so teamwork oriented. Whenever you get to this level of competition, it completely changes the way the game is played, and I think seeing that, I think Control is absolutely going to be the swing mode for a lot of these matchups, because even though Control is not a game that's played in China for their championships, these teams have been scrimming it off stream for a long time. They've got a lot of experience, and they've impressed even against some of the best teams like Almighty.
Oh, definitely. And it just depends on how you're going to start off the matchup, because you'd always want to be starting off at the defense, because you already know if it does reach a game #5, you're also going to end up in the defense, because being in the attack is so difficult because you have to worry about your lives and also the objective at hand.
Right. All right. Well, I love the fact that we kicked things off with something that was unexpected. The upset's not done yet, and you could see on the face of the Wolves players earlier, they still seemed in control. You know, again, this is a team that was pushed. They did get #1 in China, one of the most competitive regions in the world, so there's going to be some grit, there's going to be some composure as well. But we do want to celebrate how impressive that was for Strut based off of what we were expecting right off the top here, Bobby.
Oh yeah, you can see the joy on their faces. I think proving a lot of people, including myself, wrong. Obviously, like we said, the matchup's not over. They've still got a long way to go, but that's a phenomenal way to start your weekend. And that momentum can carry a lot of weight as well.
And speaking of momentum, this is where we get to see these teams take a little bit of a break once we slow things down and search and destroy, where we already mentioned that Wolves and China teams actually have a little bit of an upper hand because how much they actually played in their region. So let's see what Strut actually has to offer when it comes to that breakdown.
Right, and how much the carryover of just being up 1-0. There's something to be said about punching up and playing pretty pressure-free, right? But now you've got the win in the bag already, and you're like, okay, we can trade games from here on out, and we're totally fine here.
Yep, no question about it. I think showing the amount of gun skill that they have combined with the teamwork, I think the teamwork is going to be the biggest factor for a lot of these teams when it comes to the hard point. Because I think one thing we saw a lot from the Chinese teams, especially in Wolves, there's just a lot of solo chows on a 3-player occupied objective.
Yep.
You're gonna get torn apart every time. You might get 1 kill on the way in, but you're never gonna be able to find a break that way.
Oh, one thing that I'm really impressed with China teams actually is the fact that they know their lineup so well, because they do have the trophy system banned back in their area, but hey, they know lineup so well, they can stop a plan, they know where all the players are gonna be, so I'm gonna be expecting a lot of kills coming in from the tacticals and the nades.
Last thing I wanted to bring up from that last match was the SKS. And compared to Stage 4, it felt like everyone's using the same gun. Here, SKS popping off like early on, and then, okay, cool. Like, how do we feel about the meta, the gun meta that we're gonna have here in stage #5?
I personally like the SKS. I was talking to a lot of the players last night, and especially in the North American region, they don't love it quite as much. They're not looking forward to it.
Go talk to Rasmo.
Well, I was talking, the Q9 guys were talking to the Tribe guys, and they were trying to agree on a GA where they just didn't use the SKS at all. But it's no question the best long-range gun in the game by a mile, and especially for the regions that have really mastered it. I think you look at LATAM. That is one of their biggest strengths. Multiple SKS players on every single team.
Yep.
That's going to create a lot of issues for some of the more aggressive teams in that eastern region.
All right, well, we had ourselves a heck of an upset to kick things off, but to get into our alpha stream, let's send it on over to our casters, Shift and Proper.
My goodness. Feels like we're just out here watching you guys have all the fun. We want to have some fun too. Yes, I'm Shift. This is Proper. How you doing, brother?
I'm great, man. It feels
baby.
fantastic to be back on LAN COD Mobile. 3 years in the making. We are here in Raleigh. I am so excited for this weekend, man.
And hey, if that first map is any indication of what we're going to get maybe in this entire first slot, or maybe the entire tournament at large, we're in for 3 incredible days for the COD Mobile. I'm pumped about this opening matchup, though, because like the desk had already framed up so wonderfully, this godlike team has a lot kind of riding on their shoulders. Yeah. India, very proud region. And to be fair, the Stage 4 championships for the region were really tight. So who knows? Maybe these guys do have the opportunity to provide a little bit of upset, because as we kind of see on the other side of the stage, a lot of shaky things from stage 4 of NYSLM.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, even just take that upset that we had, and to echo what Bobby said, I mean, all predictions are just basically almost out the window at this point. You know, we gone through meta changes, events, time zone changes. So much has just completely fallen off the wayside that, hey, this might honestly be Godlike's best chance to really put their region on the map.
100%. And it's a really interesting matchup just stylistically between both of these two teams, because like they were talking on the desk about Vitality, Sam's was obviously a player that really stood out to us. You look through what we have kind of in the mix on this map set, this is what I was wondering about. All of the NA players have kind of said, we don't like playing Hacienda. So the fact that it got through and we're seeing it for map number 1, there's an opportunity for Godlike to set the tone.
It could honestly be the difference maker in between how scrims might have felt for NYSL Mayhem, that they didn't want to get the summit all the way through, and well, Godlike aren't necessarily feeling too nostalgic. They got rid of Raid. So yeah, Hacienda map 1 is going to be interesting, especially, I mean, for everything that we've already seen so far, even in that opening matchup with Wolves, is that, you know, with the SKS coming into play as well, keeping everybody at an arm's reach across from Lambo all the way across the water, it could be very, very potent. Yeah,
and just kind of looking at the overall series, I'm most curious about the 2 and the 5 here if we do see all 5 maps, because Search and Destroy was where New York really looked the sloppiest during stage 4, and wouldn't you know it, Godlike was undefeated in their Search and Destroys through all of their regional qualifiers. So I anticipate that this India squad of Godlike Esports is going to have a lot of favor in map 2, map 5.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you and I, we had the absolute pleasure to watch Godlike in their finals for their region of stage 4. And every single time that they were on for Search and Destroy, it just felt like that we were just finding another thing just to talk about, whether it was snipers, whether it was AR gameplay. There was just so much that you could just sit there and talk about, and they absolutely delivered. So it's do or don't, I suppose, for NYSL Mayhem. You got to be able to show up and show out whatever is possible on Search and Destroy, because you know Godlike are going to deliver the goods.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you didn't say do or die yet, because this could be a long group stage for one of these two teams. You don't want to fall down to the lower side of these GSL-style groups too soon, especially considering the weight of this Group A. And at the desk, again, they did a really nice job of framing it up. I know a lot of us are looking at Group A as maybe being the most well-rounded from top to bottom, where you don't necessarily have a clear-cut favorite or a clear-cut bottom. So, yeah, this is one of those that you come out with a dub, and you're going to feel pretty solid about your chances of maybe getting out early of these groups and just setting yourself up for Saturday. So, Hacienda will be map number 1. And both teams are still kind of getting themselves into it. I would say players to watch, though, for this series. We have to start with the guy that's still on screen. Little B, top left side. He has been the most electric player for NYSLM, if not maybe in North America over the course of the last couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. Has to deliver the goods here on LAN. Again, 3 years in the making. You really want to be able to show out. This is your statement match. You were able to scrim, get used to the phones backstage for this exact moment versus one of India's best teams in Godlike. And if you cannot perform here in your opening match and in a group with both Stamina and Omega, it might not look too good for you.
No, not at all. And I think the other thing about this, you know, we talk about NYSLM, you know, they've gone through so many roster changes now, it feels like, from last year to this year. Last year was disappointing, I think, in terms of their overall finish in the Western Finals. Stage 4 was worse. I mean, you talk about do or don't in the group. Is this kind of like a do or die for Mayhem if they don't show up for this event?
I think so. I mean, there's a lot of riding on their shoulders, right? You go back-to-back third places, especially after an unfortunate ending to their 2021 finals. And yeah, I mean, blow it up maybe, try switching out some different parts of the puzzle, just whatever can work, because as a former competitor myself, not even just in COD Mobile, but like in anywhere in general, you ride the bronze train for that long, it really just it takes a toll on your mental.
100%. On the other side, though, don't want to make sure we glaze over this Godlike Esports team, because they're also kind of in this period that we call, you know, hey, you've got a lot of weight with Vitality to kind of carry a very proud region into this World Championship. But there's also this sense of redemption for them, because India at large last year in the Eastern Finals was kind of pushed aside very quickly by the Chinese and Garena teams.
Yeah, 8th place 2021 Finals for Godlike, and like when you're thinking about it, even just coming to the event as a whole of 2 teams, Even talking to some of the players, the coaches, India is not exactly taken seriously.
Sure.
And so for Godlike to really come out and show out here in their opening match, I think would just be a statement on so many different levels.
And I think just, you know, again, talking players to watch on the Godlike side, Burns was just so damn good in stage 4, man. I think there's a lot of expectation that he could be that kind of catalyst to match up against the power that Little B brings on any map and mode combo. And I think that's the guy that you're hoping, if you're an India fan, continues to perform at a high level going into this matchup in particular.
Absolutely. I mean, if it's not going to be Burns, you know, you can also lean on Trunks, but when you're thinking about it, you're more or less talking about the front to back line pressure that Godlike does exhibit and exemplify when we were watching them in their regional finals. All of that needs to be the finer piece of the puzzle. Even watching them through their scrims yesterday, vibes seem pretty high. It seems like they're getting on pretty well through this patch.
Speaking of India, though, again, both teams that represent in the region are actually playing right now. You see Team Vitality is already locked in and ready to go. They are mid-map at the moment against Inco Stalwart, who has a lot of high expectation when it comes down to what Latin America will bring to the mix, Brazil in particular. That was a lot of the team from last year that was the biggest kind of Cinderella and upset kind of giver, if you want to call it that. And we jump right into the mix. Map number 1. We do find ourselves on Slums. Pretty tight affair for now, but there is a little bit of an advantage for Inco, not just in the overall scoreboard, but even on the minimap as we take a look going back over to our next rotation to Hills.
Yeah, I mean, just slightly pulling ahead. This could just be the overall nature for Slums, right? You're trading 30s. You just got to be able to break and get on in for the money hills, which actually does start to happen. I mean, you ended up having the spawns if you are Vitality, and then Inco just completely roll through the middle of the map and flip it out.
Yeah, it's one of those players, again, Bobby was talking about at the desk, SKS carriers that this Latin American region loves to pull. Keep your eye on Lucasen. This kid is unbelievable. Already has 23 kills at the SKS, has his highest streak at the moment as well. And, well, Vitality, it may have looked close as we jumped into it, but that significant advantage we saw coming through for Inco on the last hard point at Garage leads into the first about 30 seconds here on Statue. Good break attempt though for Vitality, but there's more to do here. It's not just getting into the hill. They also need to flip the spawns around.
Yeah, you really desperately need to flip the spawns, and someone needs to desperately continuously trade Lucas, considering the fact that you just saw their scoreline just somewhere near about 5 times positive, just things you absolutely don't like to see if you are a fan of Vitality, as you're starting to see them maneuver across the bottom side of the mini-map, and all of Inco are just set up. It's so well scouted. They're winning all the gunfights. They're fighting the trades. They're going to get themselves pretty comfortably set up for new.
Rafa holding over towards the barrel. The rest of Inco just kind of bottled up. Playing goalkeeper in the backside of Soccer. Oh, well done to the Predator missile. Just as soon as the break was about to come through, gets called in. Wells able to take down 2 with it, and all of a sudden Inco set up perfectly with a chance to read where this next hit from Vitality is coming from. Trades back and forth, but largely is it good enough? The spawns are still in for Inco. Bolt will be out in the mix trying to clear out the rest of this rampaging Vitality team on the break attempt. But hey, how about this? Vitality is actually holding on pretty decently considering the break.
I mean, easier said than done trying to hold this hard point from the front, Alan, especially as you were talking about spawns very much so into effect. Restarts advantage very much so into effect. That Vitality spends so much time just trying to get Noel out of that cross angle just so that way they can get inside the hard point. And now another avenue for success has just opened up for Inco as they're soaking up just so much time here.
Yeah, this is going to be a conceded amount of scrap time going the way of Inco, as they will get their lead to right around 90 points as we rotate over towards the trash hard point B3. Vitality is here first, but the requirement is you have to be able to hold this, and Croza nearly just breaks open the cemetery as an opportunity to try to get a setup going for an early break attempt. Hardpoint will open in the next 5 seconds, and then we'll likely see Inco try to make this play through Garage that they're setting up for. They're looking for spawns here, not necessarily hardpoint.
Yeah, but I don't think that they were fully aware that random did spawn behind. They actually get a couple shots, whiz right past their head, and yet some immediate Garage control coming through for Inco. It is desperation now coming through for Vitality. You have to hold inside the hardpoint. They know they're all essentially in the backside of the Garage right now, but you just have to stay alive in the hill.
Well done. Gravity Vortex gun will kind of put a pause to this hit for Inco, but now that they have expired it, the hit is on the way. Jay-Z inside. First one sliding in, not going to be able to find too much. Trades going the way of Inco, though, and the Purifier will be the next thing popped out. Dad able to kind of take down a couple in the hill, but not able to get in himself. Still waiting to find the next set of kills, and how about that for some patience? Back and forth the kill feed goes. Spawns will flip once again, but it's Inco who found the successful break.
Yeah, I mean, also just look at Inco's setup off of that break as well. They never gave up Garage control. They really just leaned off of what Dad was putting down with the Purifier, just cooking it up quite nicely. And a solid medium rare, I would say, as Inco completely immediately break back inside the hard point, and the rotation from 3 to 4, Alan, you know it's not a long one. And guess who's there? Inko is.
Yeah, this is looking really solid for Inko. Nearly 100 points to the good. Kill's still looking okay for Vitality, but it's one of those moments that you start to talk about, you have to have it now or you're not going to have it at all. And well, hey, how about it? Opportunity to get in with numbers, but of course, naturally, we call it in, and Crozen's able to single-handedly break back through into Garage. Yes, Inko Gaming can win here, and I think they're starting to feel that. Couple operators pulled, trying to put this one over the finish line for a comfortable map 1 win, but the shutdowns are still pretty solid. Vitality, one last try to get in, and of course, it's Lucas in with the SKS. An early double for him, really establishing some long-range dominance.
And Jokos was holding that back garage area for such a long time that they didn't end up reading where the spawns were coming from initially, coming across that north lane. So Inko will have reinforcements here, but it is currently Vitality with at least one player inside the hard point. Just no reinforcements, no help. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Inko break again.
I don't know if they can get $2 right now out of the banks. Looking good. Inko very clean. And this is what we're, really looking forward to. I know that Beef Mommy in particular is very excited to see this Latin American region. In fact, I think she's even gone as far to say like this could be where a dark horse lies for the entire tournament. And well, I'll say that is a very clean map number 1 for Inko. Just need to put some piggy toes on this statue for the final second. You expect it to be pretty clean, pretty comfortable. But Vitality just trying to extend as long as possible. Just, get the fingers warmed up here. Not the greatest first map overall. And Inko's gonna let them know about it. Goodness, getting loud on stage already.
Yeah. Hey, gotta show up. Match number 1 on stream, on land. You gotta strike fear in the heart of your enemies, and comfortable, to say the least.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that Inko were completely manipulating every single fixture of Slums was absolutely sublime. They were getting the closer spawns, they were getting themselves in a better position so that way they can get reinforcements out, and they were really playing Vitality like a fiddle. It almost felt like that Vitality had no idea where anybody from Inko was spawning at any given point in time.
Dude, look at Lucas in 41 and 13.
Cash.
Welcome to land, brother. Are you kidding me? That's with an SKS on Slums. Someone put a leash on this guy. He has the opportunity, I would say, to possibly be tourney MVP. Like, just flat out. I know it's like, that's way too early to call, but when we see this Inko team throughout the rest of today, and you would assume, probably based on how the group is going right now, that they would have the best chance to get in towards Saturday in the playoff bracket. That is definitely my player to watch from Latin America, if not maybe in the entirety of the world at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, Inko in Group B, obviously you're seeing them do quite well versus Vitality. Now, you still have Strut and Wolves, obviously, to be worried about, but, I mean, at the end of the day, we were talking about this in the green room. We were talking about this when we were just talking overall narratives for our 16 teams. Specifically for this Inko squad, you want to be able to come out and make an absolute statement. If Lucasen continues to play like that in an SKS meta, we're in for a treat from flat in.
Statement has been made. Tension-grabbing statements all over the place from Lucasen. But you got to keep in mind, and you had brought this up, and we saw pieces of it. Strut Wolves, that was a surprising map number 1.
Yes,
I'm kind of seeing it on the Delta stream. I think that Strut is falling right now in the search and destroy. It was pretty convincing at that. But our main focus is still going to stick with this Godlike Esports and NYSL M matchup. That's a Group A opener. And like we just kind of framed up, if you're joining us here late, this Group A, it really feels like it's anyone's to take. And we're going to learn a lot about what this group's overall power is going to look like based on what these two teams bring out here in their first matchup.
Yeah, again, for Group A as a whole, I want to say that it's a toss-up, who's going to be able to really walk away with second place. This very much so could be the difference maker for either NYSL Mayhem on their redemption run from the end of the previous stage, or the same could be said for Godlike to really show the chops that they are bringing to LAN to represent their region as a whole. It almost didn't even make it here. It would be a Herculean effort, I would say the least, but still nonetheless, if you come out and completely beat NYSL Mayhem, your chances of making it out from the group stage become that much better.
Yeah, I'll say, it's just because it needs to be mentioned. Look, everyone was talking about, the Eastern teams and the extreme travel that they've gone through here in the last couple of hours. But, dude, Godlike looks comfortable. They got pillows, they got fans up there. They probably feel like they're still playing at home as they are about to lock in. I mean, that is a setup right there. These guys look comfy.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I think I might have to take a page out of how they're set up on the desk. Like, when I get back home, if I don't have at least like 2 fans just blowing on my hands while I'm playing Call of Duty Mobile, then it might just be chalk.
I love it.
You got to feel whatever sort of comfort you possibly can, right? Because I mean, look, first time on LAN, 3 years in the making. You want to feel as comfortable as possible.
100%. Here we go. Group A matchup, NYSLM. Godlike, Hacienda Hardpoint. Again, just to re-mention it, North America has very vocally said how anti-Hacienda they've been, but with the Eastern region playing a lot of it, you kind of expect to see a multitude of Haciendas coming through over the course of the weekend. We're getting it early. 11 opening points for Godlike. Not really anything to be sweating about, though, if you're NYSLM. We expect this first hard point to be pretty neutral and 50-50.
Yeah, it's all about just trying to break if you are NYSL Mayhem. Godlike did start off on the favorite side. That's that P2 side. That's where probably we're going to see a lot of time being generated, but controlling these upper halls just about means everything. As Trunks trying to drop back down low, just trying to keep the hard point as neutral as possible. We'll maintain the spawns ahead of New.
Interesting little rotation here as we head down to the bottom left-hand side of your map, back over to Lambo for all of you Black Ops 4 enthusiasts from back in the day. So far, so good as far as NYSLM trying to get over through the patio side of this. Trunks up top, lots of damage, but only comes away with one. Nero still trying to threaten the front doors. The rest of the team, those on the backside, Godlike are not aware of this in any form. Neutrino tries to turn around to find the response, but it's too little, too late. And NYSLM will find a way to get in really quickly here as the second hard point opens up.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a fantastic timing to be able to find for yourself now, isn't it? Because NYSL Mayhem now, with 15 seconds still alive on this hard point, they can essentially start to read and dissect this very one-dimensional hit that Godlike were starting to put together. But luckily enough, they do have a couple players spawn all the way out on the northwest side of the minimap.
Trunks gonna have a few teammates spawn with him. NYSLM recognizing that they're not in the favorite spawn at the moment, are trying to get over, but the smoke will allow Trunks to get in, but only takes down the first of what needed to be about 4. So NYSLM, good awareness, good response, and what's gonna feel like a near perfect hard point for them as they really kind of build an early cushion in this Hacienda hard point.
Yeah, that was just basically every single marble in the basket there for Godlike. Again, starting off on the favorite side of the map, maintaining hallway control, and they get broken up within the first 10 seconds of P2. Not what you want to see at all. Even Rebelo trying to make a very quick and annoying rotation. It comes up with absolutely nothing, but it allows space to get back here with the SKS. And this top position, end of this rotation, is very, very good.
Little bit early streaks called in just to secure this fence line. Trunks trying to get into 10, denied instantly, and that's why the SKS is going to be played a lot. 2 taps all over the place out of it as the hit from Godlike starts to get set up. All of it coming from the front side, except for one member trying to make their way around the back. NYSLM hard focused on fence line, and the spam is just so good. The bolt coming out for Jan, and that is just ripping Godlike's break to pieces.
Shrieks to be using as well. I mean, you're just building this lead so much faster than I'm sure Godlike are more than comfortable with as well. Hunter Killer Drone also being called in, get some space going forward. M16 in hand, won't be able to find anything besides some damage, but it's just about keeping the space for NYSL Mayhem.
Yeah, this is all working out pretty solid for NYSLM, but they are spending a lot. 2 Pred missiles in towards this hard point. 2 bolts were also spent, but the last 15 seconds is actually looking pretty good for Godlike as they make the rotation over towards Spiral, learning the first mix, but denied instantly. And as we open up the rock hard point, NYSLM have all of the numbers around, blue arrows galore, and unfortunately for Godlike, not a lot of success on the rotation from scrap to new.
Yeah, I mean, Vegas essentially just had a 1v4 right there, but again, NYSL Mayhem just always one step ahead of the game. The rotational gameplay is at an absolute high for NYSL Mayhem. Again, just keeping everybody zoned away, and Godlike needs someone to desperately turn up right now to try to break inside this hard point.
Yeah, the specialist look that you see, there's a lot of advantages earned up for Godlike, but you have to find a way to utilize these, and you'll come to know that we'll be looking a lot at the efficiency and effectiveness of when these teams are popping out these operators. Learn from the side door, good damage again, finally able to get at least some damage onto the hard point as the Gravity Vortex gun is spent, only finds 1. Is it enough to actually get some convincing control of the rock hard point? That was the real question, as Godlike will get the break, but they're unaware of where Mayhem are coming from. A full flood on the way. This comes down to, can they find the right pieces to deal with it? More operators in the mix for Godlike as they look to hold.
Yeah, and they also have the grab cannon being utilized as well. Trunks just trying to play in this corner as well. How annoying has it been? Since Black Ops 4 and Hacienda, Trunks more than aware of that position. You needed this hard point, you needed that break, and now you finally get yourself past 20 points or so as we go back towards another set of hard points.
Not bad at all from Godlike. Key to get the last 30 seconds, and Trunk, he's gonna lock down Office, a key position now 1 as he takes his attention to the side door. Little B shut down 4 in a row for Trunks, streaked out of his mind, with operators also earned up, but it's gonna be Rabalo who's able to take him down to stop the spree at just the 6 that he was able to find. Now in towards Fountain, NYSLM, good control. Take a look at the focus towards the high ground. This is picture perfect for NYSLM.
Yeah, it's almost what exactly went wrong when P1 was active in the first set of hard points. Yeah. Godlike we're just keeping NYSL Mayhem at an arm's reach and getting that hallway control continuously. But trades are still good for Godlike. They just have to maintain that hallway control and keep all of NYSL Mayhem off of the hard point itself. But 3 go down very quickly. NYSL Mayhem starting to assert control.
will be making the rotation over towards Art. Godlike still focused on the hard point. And it's Jan who will try to contest. 1v1 with Trunks, wins it, no problem. 15 seconds of scrap time to fight for, but really you take your attention once again on the minimap to the bottom left-hand side. How can you get in towards Garage? What routes are NYSLM going to take? Not spawning in, but actually while the hard point's still open, keep an eye on that left side of the map because Godlike just had a couple of spawners on the right side, so all of a sudden NYSLM, the game was starting to get a little bit close, but they're putting it out of reach once more. Good rotation on the way as Lambo will open up, and there are more numbers here for Mayhem than Godlike could really deal with at the moment.
Trunks just try to attempt to break the hard point 1v3, pulling out an operator as well. But because they stayed alive and maintained that space, they actually ensue a north to south spawn all the way on the left side of the map. Big fight inside the hard point itself. Space is trying to spam all the way through the Lambo. There are actually numbers here for Godlike to try to maintain control.
Every 1v1's a big one coming forward. The car wasn't blown up yet, so the play through elbow shut down by explosions. Learn! That's a big kill. Trying to keep this still a 50-50 battle. On the way forward comes Ravallo, and he's able to help out with space as NYSLM are keeping this scrappy, keeping it mixy. Not as convincing as you like from either team, but Godlike with the proximal spawns will get the reinforcements here sooner or less. Little B has something to say about it. A double on the interior, and with 13 seconds, looks like Godlike are going to concede this and rotate over to new.
Much better than what we saw on the first set of hard points. Just taking a look at some of the stats. I mean, Trunks has been really showing up. Burns is not having a good time at all. Remember, he had a 1.62 KD at the end of his regional stage 4 finals. Little B on the opposite side, 27 and 16. It's a tail of the tape to see if Godlike can start getting a little bit more assistance for Trunks, who's doing a fantastic job at just poking and prodding and finding these nice little areas to try to get in the behind of NYSL Mayhem.
Yeah, really good focus for Mayhem on the break. First 10 seconds. Done and dusted here on the hard point, and it's all Mayhem on the interior. Neutrino trying to get something done with the Purifier. Spitting out ice this time, though, with it. He's able to get just a couple, and that's enough. And I like the play. Sit here in 10. Make sure no one comes around the backside of the flank. Trust that your teammates can hold the front, but maybe not the case at all. Nero space, locking things down through the stone wall. That's going to be enough for them to get a break attempt.
It's very, very difficult. I mean, if there's one consistency so far for Godlike, when they do have control of a hard point out, they always have one player that pushes up just a little bit too far forward, and then one player from NYSL Mayhem constantly spawn from behind. They set themselves up with a coordinated pinch, and the break continuously comes through. You can absolutely play this game if you're NYSL Mayhem. You just have to break. You can trade these 20 seconds as you have the leader's advantage.
Yeah, this is feeling like something major needs to occur right here, right now if you're Godlike. And it's a hard point to do it. Two hard points in a row to do that. Going from Rock to New on first would be not exactly what you would expect to be the wealthiest of hill combos. But Godlike do open up the hard point to their name. Numbers starting to come through the hallways. Split spawn situation as well. So a little bit of chaos just outside the hill itself. Mayhem able to utilize that as a chance to get in for a time. Space trying to lock things up with the SKS. A lot of opponents in front of him. He gets the read and says, not interested. We'll wait for a little bit of help, but Godlike are on the way.
Learn was pushed all the way up, essentially inside of the office, just trying to maybe get behind enemy lines, but found themselves in a very, very tough corner. Gravity Vortex gun also being burned here for Burns, just trying to get themselves some space. Will be successful. Now you just have to be able to hold these 25 seconds while also thinking about the rotation.
Yeah, we need to see Burns pop up right here, right now. Tagged. Working with Trunks. Here comes NYSL. Good view of this as the break is coming heavy-handedly, and Burns gets absolutely shut down. Mayhem off the break. 10 seconds of scrap time's not going to feel necessarily like a win condition, but for Godlike, they're not liking the look of it. Still full committing to make sure they get everyone and every second they possibly can through old into new, and how about that? Vega's able to light things up, and boy, what a time for it. Godlike still down big, but a chance to extend as now streaks and operators are earned once again.
Predator missile, not exactly what you wanted to see, but it also could have forced maybe a little bit of a damaging situation should you be able to get those two. Going back towards the third set of hard points. It is just about a 90-point deficit that Godlike have to claw their way back from. Casual as it may be, again, everything goes completely neutral. It's Godlike on the favorite side of the map. This time, though, when P1 becomes active, NYSL Mayhem, hot off the presses, get hallway control.
And it's just, this setup is so good for Mayhem. Continually putting a ton of focus up towards the top windows, lock down the lanes, then take your focus to the OBJ. And it's worked out absolutely beautifully. Kilpie just continues to just flesh out in that lovely shade of blue. NYSLM looking good to possibly even put it away right here. And for Godlike, I think the only thing that needs to be said, I mean, just look at the tally. Burns, we said he was the guy to watch out for, and I don't even know if he fully loaded in. 15 total kills. getting outmatched by just about everybody on the lobby right now. Not great news for Godlike.
Little B is definitely feeling comfortable here on land in Raleigh. 41 kills, casual stuff, 250 scoreline has been reached. And NYSL Mayhem are definitely feeling quite good off of themselves. They started off on the unfavored side of the map, Alan, and they just ran away with it. It took them all of about 10 seconds when P2 became active to fully break it, and that snowball did not stop.
You know, the interesting thing about it, we talk about this a lot actually between ourselves. It's like, how is it that the NA teams just have not preferred to play Hacienda, considering the fact that we saw it in 2019 during Black Ops 4? It was played almost probably more than any other hardpoint map during the Black Ops 4 year, and the setups were really easy to read in 5v5, because all the other maps that are here in COD Mobile are mostly built off of legacy maps that used to be 4v4.
Exactly.
Not Hacienda. This is a 5v5 map, and I will say, for NYSLM, it's early, but those are the adjustments and corrections that we need to see if they want to become possibly a tournament favorite.
Oh, absolutely. It's the cohesion that really does it for me, Alan. Because you were even breaking it down while we were in that final P1 there, the third set of hard points. I mean, the way that you just got to see NYSL Mayhem manipulate the entirety of the upper hallways while also keeping a player down low, just making sure that you can get in the spiral staircase essentially for free and just shoot all these godlike players from behind. It's almost what you expect to happen here from NYSL Mayhem, absolutely slaying out of map 1.
Love to see it. Love to see it. And especially from that guy that's on the right side of your screen right now, Little B. Lot of just notoriety surrounds the name. What he's been able to do kind of as a star player over the course of the last handful of years. Finally getting a chance to do it in person, internationally, on land with, you know, let's be honest, I hear you, crowd. You guys have been loud for the NA squad so far, so you have to feel like if he's been able to hear that, it's only going to make him better and better as the tournament goes on.
It's all about the comfort, isn't it? I mean, we talked about it before we hopped into map number 1. NYSL Mayhem have gone through roster changes. They've gone through a clean house almost. They've done so many different directions that this is really it. And to be able to see such cohesion and comfort across those 5 players on a map, again, what they were telling us that was going to be a hard veto, I think they're going to start looking pretty good for them.
Why not? Why not? Why not? And now we take a look over towards map number 2. Search and Destroy. This has to be where Godlike shows their overall prowess, because they were flawless in stage 4 in the India regional qualifiers. Didn't drop a single Search and Destroy map. And that's where we're looking at these guys to really have the opportunity to take this group, is off the 2 and the 5.
Yeah, again, you know, in this very massive statement match in between these two teams, it's almost was going to be expected. If you're unfamiliar with the two regions as a whole, you know, NYSL Mayhem, I would almost expect fully for them to come out, slay out in the respawns. But again, Godlike really made a name for themselves off of the objective game modes itself. They were Nesloing a lot of different teams throughout the entirety of their region, just being able to win the 2, 3, and 5. And that's mostly just off of, again, I hate to put a giant magnifying glass on the guy, but Burns really needs a bounce back from that hard point to really show off those nice long range AR crosses. Their double sniper was also something that you could write home about as well. All those things need to be there here for map number 2, or it might just be chalk.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that, especially considering that not only is Little B one of the better snipers in the North American region, but Space's SKS in Search sometimes turns into a scope. I mean, these guys are known to play a lot of long range in the Search and Destroy, looking to kind of pick apart their opponents before they make their actual executes come through, whether that's on a defensive retake or obviously the big focus on what they do on the attacking side as we jump in towards map number 2. Again, multiple streams are going on at the moment, and as we look up, it looks like Smart Omega has taken map number 1 versus Stamina. That looked pretty close, if I'm not mistaken. Just kind of watching over our multi-feed. So again, we've got 4 different streams. You can find the Alpha stream right here. Bravo, Charlie, Delta also going on as we focus this first slot on Group A and Group B. I would say, again, this Group A is up for grabs for a lot of people. Group B, maybe a little bit more lopsided in some people's minds when it comes to early predictions, but who knows how much the weight that early predictions carry considering what we've seen so far.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it was really tough. You know, it's funny that we were just sitting here just talking about it, that you know, there's so many different groups that could be the group of death, but honestly, it all could be up for grabs as we are setting ourselves up for map number 2. If you're just now joining us, 250-121 on Hacienda Hardpoint, and you know, Godlike, through all of their virtues and attempts, really tried their best, but NYSL Mayhem were just slaying out. And Standoff is a map I would again argue should be very, very comfortable for this Godlike esports. We saw them play it tons in their stage 4 finals.
Yeah, I was about to say, if I remember correctly, it was in almost every single series that they played, and more often than not, it was Search and Destroy.
Yep.
So, hey, we talked about it, we've set it up, but I think we could go ahead and just make the bold claim. This is a must-win map for Godlike at this point. It's your bread and butter. It has to be one of your main focused modes, and it's on one of your most comfortable maps. So if we're going to get a true look at Godlike, and maybe we can use that as a way to umbrella statement the entire region of India, I think right now you have to see a convincing result from the side of Godlike, especially considering the fact that like we mentioned, like Mayhem was really sloppy in their search and destroy in stage 4.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and if some narratives might hold true for us, Alan, I think that just might be it. But again, you know, it's going to be really tough to gauge. You know, even again, talking to those players and some of the coaches last night after scrimming, there's a lot of things that you can't necessarily say that are too comfortable. It's a whole different game out here in stage 5 for Worlds and Finals. And there's one thing that you definitely need to be a comfort factor. It is those core fundamentals and a very key moment here on Standoff Search.
Another update as far as what's going on the Charlie stream. Control has started on standoff between Wolves and Strut. We saw that kind of on the desk first and foremost. Strut with the surprising map #1 win, but if I saw it correctly, I think Wolves is really convincing in the search and destroy. So a swing map right there on the Control. And they're playing that on Slums, as mentioned, which, again, I still like. It's just like the COD historian to me. It's like it's weird to see Slums Control, but it's fun how it's played out if you're joining us for the first time here at COD Mobile.
Yeah, it's just still having reminiscing vibes of, you know, casting stage 4 and everything just amounting to a Slums Control. But can't necessarily be surprised. Wolves winning out the search and destroy the way that they do. It's just one of those things that, you know, as a region, search and destroy is their bread and butter.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. The fly-through comes in. Standoff, search and destroy on our alpha matchup. A key one, as we continue to mention, as far as, is there a favorite in this group? And maybe more than that, what is the bar going to be set to for both of these two squads? A lot on the line for an opening matchup, which feels weird to say, but we don't want to make it sound under-embellished because this is a key one. You do not want to go in these groups and lose 0-1 because then you're facing elimination immediately. So we'll see how things go. Here we are. It's going to be Godlike on the starting defense. And how about this for NYSLM? Quick hit through Hotel towards B. They're trying to isolate over Delhi, but Vegas has gotten the read and he says, I'm not interested. Let me back up.
Pretty standardized setup when you're thinking defensively here for Godlike, making sure that you have back alley control, making sure that nobody can get behind enemy lines too easily as they're just keeping Learn over by the AS&D, making sure that nobody can get past Statue.
And Neutrino from Tank, able to find the first blood by way of the sniper rifle. That's going to force NYSLM to reconsider, and they don't really have much information here at A. Nades are going to go. This is just to sit there and say, hey, look at us, we're coming towards A. But not the case, and Trunks starts to feel a little frisky, moving up close towards Fridge, trying to take away this back alley. And hey, how about it? This is good trust from Godlike to not sway their defense at all.
Keeping him honest. You don't know where that sniper might be anymore. Trunks trying to play in a 1-for-1 corner will lose the initial gunfight to Nero. And yeah, that's going to be the immediate callback. You saw Vegas having to go all the way back past Grandma just to make sure that the angle gets held. 50 seconds remaining in the round, and it looks like the bomb is starting to rotate past the bakery. Might be thinking about A, because, I mean, hey, Space has been over here for a long time, hasn't seen a soul.
Still 42 seconds on the clock. Nero still considering Hotel. This is be a very dangerous cross because, like you mentioned, Vegas sniping deep through his spawn. You also have help from Burns and Neutrino on the cross. Meanwhile, the only defender at B, or pardon me, at A, is going to be number 3 and Learn. He's going to have to find one if they do commit. But have they seen Nero? Is he going to get down this? He's going to plant this bomb for free. And Godlike, they have to be wondering, wait, how did that happen?
Timing of the cross. And now the ball is quite literally in NYSL Mayhem's court.
Yeah.
Look at the immediate rotation. 30 seconds on the clock, and the majority of Godlike are trying to rotate back behind Grandma's.
Jan's just watching the jump. Just checking to see if anyone's going to cross through him. First shot tags. Gets the second, though. Nice quick scope comes out. Learn will fall. Long flank on the backside. Neutrino trying to force something. Not going to get there either. And all of a sudden, Godlike have no room to work with at all. And that just comes down to the simple fact they didn't see the cross.
Yeah. That's quite literally all it is. You know, Trunks gets blooded. He gets traded outside of Delhi in that alley. And then it immediately just completely throws off the initial setup for Godlike, as you ended up having at least Vegas just like rotate all the way towards the back, just trying to at least watch that very long cross on the back of Grandma's. And NYSL Mayhem just found quite literally the freest timing I'm pretty sure I have ever seen on the standoff search and destroy. They get the bomb down for free at B and then completely concede the space, and Godlike just couldn't deliver.
That's going to play mind games with Godlike's defense. I know it's 1 round in, you're probably saying, Shift, you're getting a little ahead of yourself. But
Shift, you're getting a little ahead of yourself.
Dude, I'm telling you, when you've got 2 sniper rifles watching the crosses over towards that B site, that's your entire defensive setup, and you still let the bomb get planted, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised to see someone get aggressive this round from the defense trying to get forward at B here just because of that misstep. And we'll have to see how about it? They're just going to dive right under the gas station and say, you can't plant for free here anymore. But the problem is that focus has allowed free vacancy at A. Bomb's already being planted. 1
round in, and NYSL Mayhem are already living rent-free in Godlike's head. Just completely run all the way through the bakery. They get the bomb down over at A, but Trunks is hot on the flank. He's able to find first blood.
All about bunkering down now if you're NYSLM. No chance to get back over towards this bakery side. Trunks through the smoke. Trying to get around the back. Trades from the front side of this has allowed an opportunity for Trunks. He does get one before falling. 2v1 situation. It's just out of Raballo. Stuck behind Tractor. Weakened up, and Burns will get on the board, finish things off, and avoid the 1v2 to tie us up at 1.
It's exactly what you need to see coming out from Godlike, specifically in the retake. You don't want to be trying to play that very slow, methodical style. You already had Trunks just very, very quickly going past the gas station, and that sets up a nice coordinated pinch. You know at that point, if Trunks isn't being gunned, that all of NYSL Mayhem are just set up around the A bomb site, inside of Cube. So you really lean on Trunks to be able to get that initial kill for the retake, and then everybody else pinches from behind. And quick trades are all you can really ask for Godlike as they tie things up one apiece.
Another small update, Wolves have taken the control map number 3 against Strut in convincing 3-0 fashion. Again, you can find that on the Charlie stream. Delta's also going on right now. Smart Omega and Stamina going into map number 2. It's a firing range search and destroy. Smart Omega up 1-0 in that series. Lots of COD Mobile action, baby. I love these days. Group days are my favorite days because everywhere you look, you're watching gameplay. And getting in back into the search and destroy, trophy, smokes, nades. And getting in back into the search and destroy, trophy, smokes, nades. All over the top as Mayhem heavy-handedly burst their way in towards A. Neutrino, the only defensive effort, it's by way of scope deep, and, well, he's not going to be able to do too much to deny this plan.
Biggest difference was that Space was left behind to watch that back alleyway, but will get blooded because Trunks took a completely different route through the hotel, bombs planted, but it might not matter when you have numbers.
Looking good. SMG gameplay for Godlike, definitely waking up. Nero stuck in Cubby, not much you can do there. Yeah, I love that from Godlike. Yeah. I mean, you see what NYSLM is trying to do. Like, okay, if you're going to hit us on the flank, we're going to way overwhelm this A site and then push through it. But hey, for Godlike, defensive setup is working, and now all of a sudden you can start to kind of settle into the search a bit.
Yeah, I think it's very respectable what Godlike were able to suggest right there, especially coming from round number 2. When NYSL Mayhem quite literally did almost the same thing of what we just saw. But the retake that much better. Now things are changing again. Immediate hotel control. Burns gets snuffed out. Big first blood.
This is a repeat of round 1's break off from NYSLM. Space just watches with an SKS over the A site. Everyone else full floods towards gas station. And Godlike's adjustment after round number 1 does get countered this time. Learn, that's an unfortunate timing on the stun. He had a free look at Yawn, but misses his chance. And we go 4v2. Big advantage for Mayhem as they rotate the bomb for a free A site.
2v4 for the retake. I love this call again. I mean, you have to be aware of it. NYSL Mayhem always worried about the flank. Gonna end up leaving Yawn behind, but if you're Learn in Vegas, you really need to double up together. Learn's got 2 players in front of him to try to deal with.
First one nearly free, doesn't finish his boot though. Space stays alive, second challenge comes out, but it was not double chow. That leads to a free elimination for Godlike. Trying to get this back to a level 2v2. Tough gunfight here versus Yawn, who's just dancing with the devil up top. And you cannot sit here and wait for this gunfight to come your way for Godlike. You have to force something, and Vegas is going to run right into Yawn. Pistol out, shut down. And in the same moment, Raballo shut down Learn on the other side. NYSLM, big advantage, and conversations you could see very avidly starting to happen on screen for Godlike trying to fix things up.
You know, the immediate conversation shifts to if you take down Trunks, your flank is more or less going to be secured. Great post-flank setup there for NYSL Mayhem once they were able to get the bomb down over at A. It's that statue position, right? Yeah. If you're not getting flanked entirely, that head glitch is just absolutely gnarly to take back.
Once again, similar setup coming out of NYSLM. Godlike able to get in towards gas station. Did they see? Oh, I was going to say Trunks is kind of in a different position, holding his life a little bit more wisely this time. Help from Vegas on the cross, but hey, a 1-for-1 trade will be fine for Trunks. Even better if you can get a second and get away with your life. He's a magic man. He's out of there.
Yeah, these adaptations coming through from Trunks just in an initial gameplay for their rollouts. round to round has been an absolute thorn in the side. And now he's inside. Hotel loses the gunfight versus Little B, though. He absolutely just blaze him to waste, but still 3v4, numbers advantage in that of favor of the defense.
Keep in mind that Burns is also pushed up this time around. Neutrino helping out on the cross once again. Good on towards space. And yeah, you just don't predict Burns to be here. This is an aggressive game of Surge. Like, I know it feels a little labored at times, but both of these two teams are really slapping at one another right off the rip, and Burns will even push it a step further. What a set of map control that is to respond for Godlike.
I think it's respectable for Godlike as well. You know, they're actually meeting the pace from NYSL Mayhem off of their very quick 2 hits over towards A. Trunk says, oh, I see what you're doing. Allow me to meet that pace, and so long as the information is coming through, it allows players like Burns to then take a forward position over by the bakery. Big round coming through here for either of these two teams. It's a hotel rush for the B site.
Once again, Vegas scouts things out, backs up. Trunks is there for the assistance. One more on the interior. Well played by Trunks as he continues to finesse this backside of B. Snipe connects onto Nero as well. Huge advantage, and we could be looking at a flawless round here. Well, okay, Little B's still alive. Why would I say that?
This would be a highlight reel and a half.
He's done it before.
I know. I wasn't going to say it because you've already spoken at least one thing into existence.
Dude, no.
Didn't want another one, but Little B is still searching. We'll take down Learn. 1v3.
I'm not going to lie to you. This feels almost exactly the same as what he did to Tribe last year. Just finds everybody in corners, quick scopes everyone. Still tons of time left.
Yeah.
Problem is, Godlike do know the bomb is down.
Of course.
This would be a little bit more hard-pressed than what we saw last year, but you're absolutely right. This is absolutely a highlight reel in the making.
Oh, the timing. One player in top grandmas.
He's so sneaky.
I mean, they have no idea what
No
Little B
clue.
is, too. And you got to respect what's also coming through Burns. Neutrino just doubling up together. You walked inside Trunks' deli. He is the deli man. We'll end up getting that final kill. And I mean, you got to feel like there's a certain level of sweat dripping down your neck when Little B's alive with a sniper rifle and 1v anything.
I'm not going to lie. I felt like for a second there we were seeing into the future. But
Had
not
a few
bad.
cups of coffee. I'm not clairvoyant, though.
That's, I will say, you know, again, we'll swap the sides here, 4-2. That's a great first half from Godlike. Just to not back down, keep playing your game. And that's what we need to see if Godlike are going to come out of here and continue to be dominant in the search and destroy.
It's, again, you know, one of those things that at least we were able to recognize just in their regional finals. So they do a great job at meeting pace on the search and destroy.
Agreed.
You know, they come out very honest, holding angles, playing truthfully. But whatever NYSL Mayhem are throwing, Godlike are answering.
Defensive setup for NYSLM now as we swap the sides over will be a 1-2 split, essentially. Rabalo's opening nade does connect. That is not great news for Godlike. And NYSLM are looking to maybe possibly get Nero into an advanced position here. You see the rotation starting to come out. Little B's watching the cross through mid, but Nero says no need. As Neutrino nearly gets a pick, but Nero escapes with his life, and we stay 5v4.
I was about to say, this was an egregious setup after losing first blood. The Burns with the bomb itself is pushed all the way up to statue because Vegas, well, he needs to be able to watch this cross somehow to be able to answer things back. The flank was also given up. See players 5 and 4 in blue. Neutrino Trunks just trying to work through the courtyard and lose Neutrino along the way.
And this is what NYSLM do so well. They just pick apart at you. Burns pretty much looking to rock and a hard place. Could help though. Trunks opens up an opportunity. Maybe he goes over to B, but the bomb is not able to reflip. And it's just down to Vegas. With his own maybe miracle working, coming out 1v3. Not required, but would be nice to see if the hands stay hot here with scope.
Gotta prove it. Anything Little B can do, you can do better, right, Vegas?
Yeah.
We got the bomb.
We'll find a Krieg on the ground. It's going to be able to scoop up the bomb as well. But, I mean, you look at the setup. You got just Nero watching that long cross. Sniper bullet will also ring through standoff. Vegas needs to try to play this bomb and extend the round. We'll find the first. Also swifts to the sniper, and no chow.
It was a good prediction, though. Has the right feeling. Toggles, makes the sound cue come out. Little B's on the rotation through mid. But they're waiting, looking to possibly just pinch this up as soon as the bomb gets planted, which it does. 1v2. which tool is best for the job if you're Vegas. Little B, snipe over the top, misses, but the information is there. Now Nero on the mix. Vegas, this is the second shot, and the pinch is successful. NYSLM success on the retake.
Yeah, maybe you are seeing into the future, especially being able to read that pinch effect. God, you're so smart and handsome. It's just one of those things, again, that, you know, for NYSL Mayhem, this is why they are very highly regarded, especially as individuals and players. That's just what you're supposed to do in a retake. Look, you know that Vegas has a sniper. You don't want to end up just isolating yourself too easily, although Little B really gave it his best effort to be able to take that chow. You just retake it, you get yourself back within one.
Yeah. 10 kills for Trunks. He was great on the defensive side. Do you need him here on the offense? I think is the question. Bomb lingering through mid. Forward position on towards Street here for the side of Godlike, and there really isn't anyone to respond to this if you're NYSLM. They're kind of playing this map on the outsides, and yeah, how about the play? Trunks able to cut right down the middle, looking for a second. It's Little B at range, and you gotta be careful on how you take that 1v1. But Trunks just continues to be on the move, finds Nero for free, but the problem with all this is, yeah, the kills are great, but your bomb carriers dropped on the other side of the map.
Yeah. So now you're gonna be able to do this all the way from the grandma side of the house. So how about the reposition from Little B upstairs in the bedroom? We'll be able to take down a flanking Trunks. Now, just one more player left alive. Neutrino in a 1v2. Got plenty of time to try to work the map.
Catches Yawn on the cross. Tough gunfight here. Backs away. Plenty of time if he wants to try to maybe work back through his spawn to get this bomb. But oh, look at NYSLM. They're like, nope, we'll make the proactive play. We'll keep you guessing. Big advantage for NYSLM on the defense. Can just wait for the bomb to be planted. And this is all about just killing the clock and staying together. Do not get picked apart one by one.
I feel like we've almost seen this before. A whole round to go. Neutrino's going to have some space. He's clearing from cubes. Probably very confused. We'll see Yawn at range, but the gunfight will not be favorable. Back-to-back rounds on the defense. NYSL Mayhem tie things up for a piece.
Yeah, now we need to see something here from Godlike. Yeah. It's not to sit there and say that they have to adjust how they're setting up their offense. They're finding some pretty decent success. They just keep losing their bomb carrier too soon. So how are we coordinating these aggressive little hits coming out of Trunks with what bomb site we actually want to get to? NYSLM looking to get aggressive over through Hotel. Opening trade of SKS and nades doesn't really give away too much information, but I mean, this position on Raballo and Nero is going to be difficult for Godlike to deal with outside of Brown. Or maybe not.
Yes, trade will come through. And I like that from Neutrino. Good discipline. Will not push through over towards the B site because that's exactly where Nero was located at, but they will double up together. This is what you want to see coming through from Godlike. Get yourself in a tradable position.
Yeah, with the good bait and switches coming out. Just good help across the map for NYSLM. That's the bomb carrier down once again. 3v3 we go. And honestly, how do you even make the call here for Godlike? Yeah, who's going to make the first play? And Trunks has no information on what's over towards Granny's. And well, as he does, yeah, the long position from Little B works out. Neutrino last one left. He's stuck. Space feeling good about the gunfight, but turned aside. Everything resets. Still 55 seconds on the clock.
1v3 with Little B still alive on the map. And you can just see how all of NYSL Mayhem are just coordinating around the bomb site itself. Space will get the final bullet required. Neutrino will go down 3 on the bounce for NYSL Mayhem for their defense.
Yeah, flawless so far in the defense. Okay, Godlike, what's the call? And honestly, I think you're at a point here where you're finding a lot of success on these opening engagements. Like the first blood efficiency is not bad. Maybe just force something. Force the gunfight in one direction. Well, maybe not towards Little B's direction. On the cross, he's able to find one. Learn still in though. Raballo, Diva shut down by Learn. Knows that there's one more over, but the trade does come through successfully. Numbers for the moment with Godlike, but Nero trying to cut things off to the middle of the map, wins the gunfight onto Neutrino. Vegas stuck in the back. Once again, the bomb is down in a very precarious position. And NYSLM just down to Little B after the trades come out. 1v2 for him.
Trunks on 12 kills.
Yeah, he's carrying.
It's very individualistic though, our Godlike, but you have numbers 2v1. Who is it on the other side? It's Little B, very much so alive on the map. 2 weapons to work with as well. Bomb being planted over at A.
Little B will be at least be able to clear off the high ground. Oh, he takes down Vegas from statue. Just down to where is Trunks. Little B's got time to play with. Trunks with the SMG over the top. Jump peek not going to scout him out initially. And as we get closer and closer, smaller advantages for Trunks. But Little B able to see if the slideshell comes out, but no, not this time. Trunks too clean with it, and we get tied up, knotted at 5.
must-needed round right there. You needed to stop the bleeding if you are godlike, and really it's all off the back end of just one player just going absolutely rogue, just trying to get themselves further space over by the A bomb. They find two.
Smoke out.
And Trunks on the opposite side is able to at least clean up yet another, keeping numbers intact. For an offense, it's going to be more aggression this time, much more together for godlike.
Nero able to help out for the opening trade. Trunks already through. God, how does he keep getting into these positions? It's like you swap over to him and he's already in the defensive spawn. But all things said and done in the very quick opening leads us to a very early 2v2. Nero, Rabala working together, has learned, heard, or seen this. Oh boy, that's clean. Easy first. Gets the idea. Nero does it himself. Double for Learn as godlike put themselves on towards map point. Remember, if you're not familiar with COD Mobile, it's to 7 and you have to win by 2. So overtime is still a possibility here for NYSLM.
How important would it really be for godlike just to be able to close it out 7-5 here? And they're going back to that opening round offensive setup. Again, you just bomb carrier of Learn all the way by their lonesome just outside of the bakery while the rest of their teammates are trying to clear Brown.
Onus on towards Trunks again. Can he get forward? But you have to keep in mind that Little B has sniped from the defensive spawn on this cross. You have to be very mindful of how far forward you're going to go. Patience echoes across standoff from both sides. I mean, no one wants to take a peek. Just spam shots and nades at the moment. But the onus is on towards godlike, and they are going to try to get in towards the backside of Delhi. Neutrino watching the cross, seeing if he can force a defender to move.
Flash out.
Flashes and nades are all fine, but NYSLM are staying disciplined. In fact, they even kicked down a nade from Vegas deep towards boxes. That is a late set nade to connect.
Yeah, it's a good resource to hold on to this late in the round. So now you will even have yourself a slight numbers advantage, and this is respectable coming through from NYSL Mayhem. They know that the retakes work quite well. Just got to make sure that they are more than aware where Trunks might be lurking at.
Have to make a move. If they force this towards B, I just don't know how you get the bomb down successfully. Look at the NYSLM setup. They've got so many players that can watch this. Learn, praying, hoping. Anything, nothing for sale. And that's going to be enough for them. Maybe they have to back away. I mean, Little B's in a great spot to read this.
It's going to have to be Trunks that makes a play. Yeah, he's able to at least find one, but Little B, again, in the position to be able to get that trade. 3v4 and time will now be reset up towards 45 seconds. You asked how could they get the bomb down? Well, you got to get Little B out of the previous position.
And watch out for Neutrino on your map. Deep towards Bakery. Yeah, what a rotation that is with the scope. He can watch over the top of this bomb deep. It takes out a key component for NYSLM's retake. Rabala working back alley. Yawn actually able to find a kill on the Learn. They're going to try to force out this position from Neutrino. They actually have already done that. 18 seconds on the clock. Numbers advantage for Mayhem. But can they sniff out where the rest of godlike are? SKS not going to land. Neutrino with the pistol gets it done. Trade there for Yawn. Can they force the OT? Trunks will drop. And enough time for the defuse. Overtime it is.
Just enough time to be able to get it. When you're just watching all of that go down, I don't think that Trunks ended up seeing that one player ended up completely going underneath the half wall outside of Delhi. 2 ships in a night is the phrase, and that's exactly what ends up happening. Trunks went to go at least clear the bomb in the main alley. So we will then go back over towards the defense here for godlike, and again, it's just more aggression. Look at him go.
Well, this is a huge curveball. They hadn't even done this in their opening 6 rounds of defense, but at the same rate, NYSLM have gotten aggressive on towards A. Nero waiting for the call to get the plant off, and so it will be. But Burns is already deep in towards the offensive spawn. Trunks scouted out mid-map, but that's all fine. Neutrino from the front, just waiting for a chance, trying to get spams through. Someone has to make a move here for godlike, and they're waiting. They don't want Burns to make the first move here. They want him to hit late. So it's going to be Trunks through statue. Here comes the play. Little B shuts down the opener. Burns reveals himself. Time ticking, 23 seconds. More trades across. Neutrino's time to get activated, as NYSLM have shut down the majority of the flank. Largely on a Neutrino. Pistol lands for the first. Does he get the second? Around the back. Odds ring around the rosy. Oh my goodness. And it's Little B that will fill the pocket full of posies.
Bring around the tractor.
Yeah, tractor.
Pocket full of hay.
Pocket full of motor oil.
Yeah. I don't know what sounds less comfortable, a pocket full of hay or a pocket full of oil. But yeah, I mean, the immediate A offense just working out quite nicely for NYSL Mayhem, and Godlike trying to at least find their strides. Now we're going back to a position where they're trying to at least answer back with a little bit more of a poke prod effect with the loose trunks along the way.
Oh, let's spam through the wall from space. Gets the opening 2. Not great news for Godlike. 5v3 situation. Mayhem looking to take both OTs back to back and get into control quick up 2-0. Godlike just going to try to hope they can find a pick from somewhere. And I don't even know who you look at. I mean, Neutrino's, you think the best player to try to get a pick, but I mean, how often can you really reposition the sniper rifle against the hard scope of both Little B and Space at the same time?
I mean, Little B has 16 kills to their name through the search and destroy. The majority, if not all, have been by way of the boomstick. And again, when you could see NYSL Mayhem, they're playing that very annoying retake possibility. They have the numbers. Burns needs to go big here.
He needs to get this double. No, nothing. Yon shuts it down. Neutrino gets in, finds at least one trade. 2v4 now. Still plenty of time, 50 seconds. And with the double stack towards A, you have to kind of force this towards the B site, which is not going to feel comfortable. Neutrino Vegas trying to work together, and Neutrino's gotten into a position to at least take away some of this back alley. It's still not going to feel good, though.
No. Double snipers, watching these long crosses. And the moment that Neutrino tries to make a play, because they have to, they will get sniped by Little B. 1v4, good luck, have fun, Vegas. That'll do it, NYSL Mayhem. It was a 4-2 half. They force overtime and they win 2 rounds back to back.
Yep. Other update, by the way, as well. How about Inco Gaming 3-0 in their opener versus Vitality? They 3-0'd the Control, they 3-0'd the series. You have an overtime match on Delta right now with Stamina and Smart Omega. And Wolves, after their shaky start, are 20 points away from finishing off Strut in 3-1 form as they're continuing on Charlie in a Summit hardpoint. Action all over the place, but for Mayhem, look, I don't want to give them, the weight of the world right now, but much better than Stage 4.
Yeah.
So much better.
And maybe Bobby should be a little biased for NYSL Mayhem because, I mean, they're looking very good. Their composure throughout the entirety of that search and destroy, because they were being dealt a very tough hand by name of Trunks, who even through that first half was already up to double-digit kills.
Yeah.
And was finding so much value in their isolated plays, but it's legitimately just that. Those isolated plays that just constantly put Trunks out on their own and left Burns on the opposite side by themselves. And it was just too easy to be able to pick apart. And NYSL Mayhem just leaned back towards those fundamentals. You give up the space, you play for the retake, double snipers, standoff, baby. It works.
The one thing we always look for as well is kind of who's winning in like the mental chess that starts to come through. And as much as I can praise Godlike for not changing their ways quickly, I do have to still say the proactiveness of NYSLM kind of did win out the majority of those rounds. I mean, that defensive half was pretty much polished from start to finish for NYSLM. So 2-0 now in the series, and the road becomes very difficult to start to lead up the conversation of a godlike reverse sweep. And a lot of it, I think, as much as I hate to say it, kind of resolves to the fact that we wanted to see Burns be the pop-off star player for this squad. He was empty in the first hardpoint, and he was outshined by Trunks in the Surge. So, you look back over this overall search and destroy, and you wonder, were there missed opportunities somewhere here for Godlike, who found so much success off of the unexpected player in Trunks, so to speak?
Yeah, I started hinting at it, especially for Godlike. If Trunks is constantly being that guy to try to make these solo plays happen, someone needs to be on a quick rotation to come help them out, because if you just get that one extra trade, when Trunks finds that first blood, you constantly have numbers advantage. But the difference is that Godlike, at least they were able to adapt to the very aggressive offense of NYSL Mayhem when they were constantly hitting over towards A. But they never adjusted to how slow they played on their defense, just giving up all the space and just letting their double snipers go to work.
Yeah. It's one of the things, man, everyone kind of came to know it through Stage 4. And heck, we kind of saw it last year with a different roster for NYSLM. A lot of reliance on what Little B could do with the scope. With Space now working with him, I mean, they are a deadly duo at range, and even though Neutrino was able to put together some sort of response, it was not nearly enough. So we step away from standoff and head on in towards Slums Control, firing range hardpoint, and then takeoff search. Those are the 3 maps that Godlike would have to take to get the reverse sweep. Try to find some way to tell me how they do it.
I mean, you need Burns. You just need Burns to be able to have some productivity in these respawns. Without Burns helping out what we at least got to see from Trunks throughout that map number 1, I just don't really feel like there's going to be a way for Godlike to comfortably work their way back into this series.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I think the key word there is comfortably.
Yeah.
But
they got pillows over there. So
I mean, they're looking pretty comfortable.
That's cozy.
But looks can only go so far.
Fair.
True. This stage is dope, dude. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about it. I mean, like,
so cool.
There's so many different teams and just facing off against each other, not to mention just all the different languages that you're also hearing just throughout all the different communications. It's just really, really cool. You know, we waited 3 years for this exact event to come through, Alan, and oh man, let me tell you, this is just feeling very, very right for this momentous occasion.
So results are starting to come through, as mentioned earlier. Inco 3-0s in their opening matchup. 3-1 for Wolves. Good bounce back after the shaky first map.
Yeah, it was a weird one.
Yeah, it really was. But hey, this is why we can't say that one instance of something is going to give us an indication of how the day is going to go. But coming up on the following up streams, you've got Luminosity and Nova setting up on Bravo, and then Team Almighty and Skade starting up on Charlie. Don't sleep on that Skade team. They're pretty solid.
I just feel like, you know, you can't sleep on any team. Because again, from what the VOD might suggest through all the different regional tournaments that were suggesting itself, it's a completely different game. You know, you're playing on a completely different device. Everything can honestly change. Not to mention your comfort as a whole back on LAN. And hey, that could honestly be where some of these teams really come through and shine. 3 years since the last time we've had such an occasion like this. Some teams might get upset and you can't be surprised.
Okay. Group A, starting to see, I mean, well, I'll say, I think it's a 2-0 for Smart Omega right now, which is the other matchup in this group. They're, I think, getting ready for the control, if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, I guess, you know, while we're waiting to get into this control, again, we've seen one hard point and one surge, so it's hard for us to say for sure. I'm impressed with what Mayhem's brought to the table, just comparing video and VOD from what they did in Stage 4 to what they're putting together now. Is it enough for them to be possibly group favorites for you at the moment?
No.
Okay.
I need more. I need more sample sizes. It's not enough. I've gotten all but a single drip of what this NYSL Mayhem actually do look like, right? You know, again, you know, talking about just the composure to be able to bounce back from that 4-2 half deficit, the way that they were also able to coordinate the break, not just once, but 3 times on Hacienda for P2. This teamwork and how everybody is just kind of gelling together on the map is just absolutely sublime. This little B is just giving some eyebrows to the camera.
How about this? You know, looking down at our stats from Stage 4, this is the first 2 maps. They didn't play them at all at the NA Regionals. They didn't play a single Hacienda hardpoint. They didn't play a single standoff surge. So the playbook feels deep too. You know, and one of the things we noted a lot last year during both the Western and Eastern finals is that a lot of the time we saw just kind of like, all right, we're just going to go outgun you. That was like the only page of the playbook. But I will say for NYSLM, they're looking like they're coming in prepped, considering that we didn't see either of those 2 maps in Stage 4 in any regard. I mean, they played a handful of games throughout their groups because of their opening loss that they faced versus Undream, this new LG team. So that says something, maybe.
Well, I think it definitely does. Again, it's just very, very tough. I mean, we talked about this in very great lengths, that it's, you know, everything that happened in the past, you do have to take it with a certain form of an asterisk. Again, I think that the entire conversation right now for NYSL Mayhem does start and stop at their stark differences of what they look like towards the end of the 3rd place finish of Stage 4 and how comfortable they look right now. But it honestly could really say more just about Godlike, not just to completely flip the conversation, but I mean, there's been so many different opportunities for them to be able to walk away with rounds, to walk away with rotations back on that Hacienda map number 1 that just completely just fell right through their fingertips.
Okay. Man. And still to come after we get through this stream slot, we then take the focus to Group C and Group D, which who knows what's going to happen to those. I mean, we got Tribe Q9 first matchup. Unbelievable stuff. But we take a look at Group B, which I believe has, there's the first set of matches all completed. Wolves take down Strut as mentioned, 3-1. Clean 3-0 for Inco Stalwart. I don't know, man. This is going to be a really interesting upper qualifier. I think we all kind of expected, just based on the results from Stage 4, that these would be our top 2 teams probably in this group. But picking a favorite, it's hard to do, because I'll tell you, man, don't sleep on this Inco Stalwart team. They're looking really polished. And here's the biggest thing about them that I'm really excited about. Latin America was pretty much all game 5s against these 3 teams that are here. So they have veterancy, experience, and the ability to kind of show resiliency when things do get tight, which I think we could expect in this upper qualifier.
You know, it's not an absolute pleasure of mine, but I do enjoy arguing with you. I think that Wolf will probably have a very simplistic time versus Inco.
You think so?
And the only reason why I say that is just because of their search and destroy prowess. I mean, just from what I was able to see just off of the Bravo stream from our quad feed behind us, it's just, you know, the way that we are quite literally witnessing them really boast their strength of why they are considered a search and destroy region. I think that it's going to be very tough. I think that Inco, as far as the respawns are concerned, with all of their SKS ability, I suppose, I think that that's going to be a certain wrench into the system for Wolves to deal with. But yeah, I think if it does come down to the game 5, and even that map number 2, will be quite telling to be able to see how those 2 regions stack up against each other.
And I don't know, it's just like, I kind of get like this reaction of Inco, kind of like the Avengers, like, yeah, you might have search and destroy, but we have a Lucas in. Like, he's so good, dude. I'm excited for that matchup. We'll do that one later on today. We take a look over at, again, Group A as we're waiting to get into this control. Stamina Smart Omega is still in the middle of their game. Still have a chance to kind of tune in with the Delta stream to see how things are going there. And again, like I mentioned, I'm pretty sure that that was a 2-0 map count, but we'll see. No, jumping in. It's actually still the search and destroy here. So, okay. My apologies, my mistakes. But Smart Omega are up 1-0. And into this firing range search. It's Kendi by himself, 1v3. Tough situation, but at least he's got the bomb to work with.
Gonna start working their way down towards Banana. And Marvel's already here. Just watching this in the window. SMG versus whatever's in the back pocket of Marvel, but actually gives it up. This timing might be quite favorable.
The cross is being watched, though, as well. See Narcs. Yep, he sees it. Marvel not going to peek immediately. Gives an opportunity for Kendi to isolate. Turns off, shut down by behind. But they're able to get into the mix just in the nick of time. Because I'll tell you, Marvel was given some space there.
Yeah, Marvel was really just playing with the food to be able to get that final elimination, huh? It's just, I was right there with you. I was like, Marvel, you gonna come back and chow through tires? Or just really just waiting. Almost gave himself a nice easy 2-piece if it was going to be red. Now a second offensive attempt coming through from Omega. Going to be immediately trying to take 10 in their favor.
Is a triple sniper set up for Stamina? Holy. Marvel, Narc, Strari, all long range. But how do you contest when someone just rushes on for an easy plant? That's the real situation at the moment. Grizz looking to come back through trailer. It's double stacked. He will fall. Narc's able to find 1 on the initial take. But again, how do you retake this with 3 scopes? And Hydra's going to say, well, you don't. I'm just going to get in your back line, force you to have to hit some quick snipes, which Narcs provides by way of pistol. We still stay 2v2. 25 seconds on the clock. Narcs now with an SMG to work with. Back and forth. He's going to work right alongside Marvel. Narcs is in. Not going to find Rage initially, but the second pick comes out risky, though, from the corner. Marvel going to force the gunfight, and Risky takes down Bull. Omega responds.
Yeah, tough read right there, right? I mean, you go for the bait and switch, just knowing damn well there's going to be a player in that tight right corner once you go inside of 10. And they get the bait and switch to be able to get that first, but lo and behold, on the other side, through the middle of the map, there was another player waiting to be able to get that trade. And you know, with only 11 seconds left, you really do have to force that engagement to be able to get that elimination, then just maybe hope that you can slide back over towards the bomb in time and get that defuse. But hey, triple sniper is the setup. Retaking with that, it becomes an absolute head scratcher. You need to be able to win a gunfight, pick up a weapon, and just hope that you can use it with enough time on the clock.
I mean, we've seen double scope and SKS on this map, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone pull out a triple sniper setup. It's bold. I respect it, though.
They have the bomb.
You kind of have to. Is it going to be the same again? Drari's already taken some spam shots. Marvel's, yep, set up for the same. Okay. Over the top of Banana. Rage already through. Marvel stuck. He's gotten very limited amounts of health. It's actually just the pistol. Drari actually works out for 2. Hello? Drari's able to get a double. That will put a little bit of a pause on what looked to be a free B site. And now all of a sudden Stamina are kind of here to watch the cross.
You don't know what's going to be looking through the middle of the map. Nice hold there. We'll be able to at least marginalize the numbers deficit. 2v3. And if you're Stamina, again, you just have to really poke your way through the majority of this B site, not knowing what angle is going to be immediately looked at.
Car explodes. Whoopi gets credit for the kill on Narcs. And now the bomb gets planted with the last one left. This 1v3, no chance. Kendi holding the bomb site. Works out well. And I will say, I don't know about this triple sniper setup, man. I mean, I'm here for it, but am I?
Well, you are physically here. I do see you. You are here in the vending shift. I can see you clearly. Yeah, again, on firing range especially, it's just you lose that first bullet. You start to lose your players that don't have sniper rifles, and then you have to somehow piece things together with a pistol, which, hey, you can probably get away with doing, but when it comes down to overall control, the spammability of those automatic rifles versus a sniper rifle and the space that you can take along with it is that much easier.
Yep. If you want to follow along with that matchup, you can do so by heading over to the Delta stream, but our focus goes right back over towards our main highlighted match, NYSLM. This is how they've gotten to their 2-0 status for now. Pretty comfortable on Hacienda. Really solid stuff that we saw from start to finish. A little back and forth through the opening half on the standoff search. Did lead towards overtime, which NYSLM were able to take pretty swiftly. And it gets us into map 3, Slums Control. Do or die time. Well, not necessarily die, but do or lower bracket time for Godlike. Do or don't. Sorry. Doesn't roll off the tongue the same way.
You gotta learn today.
True.
Yeah, I mean, you really need to have the slums control. I mean, through so many different times that we have seen Godlike just play on this map mode combination itself, not to mention just winning stage 4 as a whole, but always ends up really going down to a round number 5. And I think that you have to be looking at a player of Trunks' caliber to be able to continuously find some space. But as you were saying, off that map number 1, NYSL Mayhem, their slaying capabilities was at an all-time high.
Things to look for here on this Slums Control, Bricks Control, Statue Control. Kind of have to have it on the offensive side if you want to get any opportunity of winning an offensive half on this very difficult map mode combo. And here comes the push forward. Good kills for Godlike. They actually clean the middle of the map completely. That's very well done. Space is a little bit stuck here at Cemetery, asking, I'm sure, for help as he spams through the doorway. On towards the side, the SKS ringing out. Space for a double, shuts down both Godlike members, and it was a really lopsided approach because it was kind of a hit towards B, but you've got Godlike members also threatening Garage. I mean, kind of need to pick a zone here, boys.
Yeah, Godlike were trying to split the map, maybe try to pull a few defenders off, but hey, Space with the SKS will be able to shut down that B zone attempt even before that first segment does come through. Very close to be able to get that next segment, but it was Trunks, again, all isolated once more. NYSL Mayhem just have every single angle covered. 27 seconds remaining.
Follow right back into the middle of the map, and you can see why this position is so coveted. A double as he goes from right to left. Now reinforcements for Mayhem. 17 seconds on the clock. You have to make a decision here for Godlike, and your best chance you would have to feel is B. Focus towards the middle of the map. Learn once again another double. That at least creates some opportunity for this hit from the front to have some good focus. Trades coming out. Clock will stop. But it's a 17v9 with 8 seconds on the clock. Even if you were able to secure this B zone, your ability to win this offense is going to be pretty hard pressed.
Yeah.
Enemy taking B.
Numbers not in your favor, time not in your favor, and again, even when you did have 2 players inside the B zone, you immediately get collapsed on. Last hurrah coming through for any sort of segments, only able to get 1. Casual 15v4 won't even be able to get there as the clock does get exhausted.
Space feeling good about it. Fist bumps out there in the camera. And here's the thing, you know, and we're going to talk a lot about this throughout the entirety of all of this tournament on Control. If you start in your opening defense and you can put together a spree like that, look at the tools that NYSLM have when it comes to streaks and specialists immediately in this round 2 offense. This is the advantage you need to kind of keep an eye on, because Godlike will not be able to respond with streaks or specialists of their own until maybe halfway through this defensive side. So if you're NYSLM, you're taking this time in between rounds to sit here and say, how are we going to use this to get a zone quick?
Could also just be the grand old gesture of Control ever since coming in towards the Call of Duty histories. You know, saving those resources for when things get hairy, but the way that NYSL Mayhem have looked throughout the entirety of this series, even specifically in that map number 1, things don't get hairy too often for them. Their ability to be able to adapt and be able to get them immediate help even through gunfights alone is just shutting down Godlike at the door.
Okay. See what's going on. I love the fact that we're hearing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the cool thing. I don't know if you guys have really been able to see it from home, but all 4 matches are going on simultaneously on the same stage. Like, there is an opportunity where we could be hearing pop-offs in 7 different languages at the same time.
Well, that's got to just be overwhelming for some of the stage managers and referees.
Yeah, bless up, brothers.
Backing towards this one, though. Going to be, you guessed it, Statue Bricks Control trying to immediately be consumed by NYSL Mayhem, but it's going to be trades across the board. Things go neutral, at least for the time being, but
kills.
So you do have some space. Yawn will be traded, so no garage immediately.
Yeah, Neutrino's got to stay alive. He's number 4 in yellow on the backside of this B site. Over the top of the head, oh, it's a big gunfight win. Pressured, he even finds a second. Very well done. Little B mid-map trying to keep this play alive, and he at least takes 2 with him. But is it enough? Answer quickly comes to us as Godlike re-swarms right back, not just into, but through the B site. Goodness, Trunks on another multi-spree as he gets 5. Bolt is out, really looking to put the hurt onto Mayhem. But as he pulls it out, he gets shut down, and even though Mayhem are down in lives, they at least deal with what was very forward pressure from Godlike.
Yeah, and again, it's all really on the back end of Trunks, who again has been having himself the best game out of everybody from Godlike, up to 10 kills, and they've completely pushed through the B zone. He is more or less the main defender down over by B, and it allows Burns to get activated on the other side of the map itself. He's going to continue to play this very annoying angle. Look, if you can continuously find trades, you'll hold on to that 5-life lead.
Yeah. Kills coming out. 15 seconds of the clock. NYSLM, clean kill feed, but they have to deal with Vegas at bricks. Well done. Mid-map control goes back towards Mayhem. Clock will stop as they get on towards the B zone. Looking towards what Godlike can do for the retake. Very slow and labored to get over towards this electronic shop. That's going to be the first ticks locked in without any contest. Second tick is going to come through for free as well. Urvalo's just putting on pressure by the Bolt. Where is Godlike? They're just going to give up this B zone? You've got one player to try to contest. It's Learn. He needs to work his way in, though. He doesn't have any help, and they're going to give away a free 60 seconds as NYSLM right back into the live.
Hey, you remember when I said that they had a 5-life lead and you just have to be able to play the trades? Yeah, now that just got diminished towards 2. Predator missiles also going to be called in by Jan. It's going to keep players at a distance. We'll find Neutrino.
Oh, no.
Space is being found.
Urvalo trying to take down Learn, nades to assist, but Jan does find the elimination. 8v8, 45 seconds on the clock. Little B's created an opportunity to get to the front door of Garage. How has this happened? Godlike had every advantage you could possibly have wanted. And now it's a 7v5. Kills keep going the way of NYSLM. Godlike feeling the pain over through what is the third hard point normally. And as Little B gets over towards Van, you can pull out the operator here to start spamming it towards Garage. Now it's 6v4. Berg shut down on towards the site. Clock stops at 25 seconds. And NYSL, they will put together a flawless offense. What happened there?
It just mostly just comes down to poor positioning and awareness coming through from Godlike. Even when you started to see the clock dwindle down past about 27 seconds or so, they didn't see anybody over by B. Why? Because NYSL Mayhem were waiting for the respawns to fully get back to the middle of the map, and Godlike thought that they had the read, that they were all going to be coming through the brick side. Incorrect. They thought they were going to attempt to try to go get that last segment and stop the clock over by B, or over by A, excuse me, and they just completely all go in for B. And as you were saying, Learn had to somehow get in towards the contest. Even when you had a 5-life lead, you could have at least tried to contest it, buy some time for your teammates to come back and help things out, which should have been a pretty clear-cut defensive round for Godlike. And now it gives NYSLM that match point.
Man, it's almost a situation where I had to double check to see if they were like waiting on their delegates to come out of the laundry because they were all huddled up waiting for the dryer today. It looked like. Here we go. Now it's what we like to call the full reverse sweep. You have the mini reverse sweep here in the control while also reverse sweeping in the series. Difficult situations to say the least. Burns shut down by Urvalo. NYSLM putting a lot of focus towards this brick side, and as they find kills at Arches, once again, difficult situation for Neutrino to try to work through. He's just essentially on an island by himself, and yeah, clean opening here for Mayhem.
It's just like what we got to see from their opening defense as well. Space, Jan, just absolutely having a field day. 18-6 for Jan will finally be traded out, but all of this immediate mid-map control for Little B just means that he can be everywhere that he needs to be once he gets the information from his teammates to collect more kills and hold on to that life lead.
Red Missile doesn't really find too much, just Neutrino. Not the biggest punish in the world, 6 lives, but Nero able to take down a double, just shutting things from the front door here at Blue. Neutrino hoping for some counter spam, but it's all positioning favor towards NYSLM. Need to see something happen right here. Someone's got to just be a hero if you're Godlike. 25 seconds on the clock. Nero still not done. Space there to assist on the inside. And it's looking pretty clean, pretty comfortable. Not any space. It's it all to work with for Godlike, and you can feel it. Spade's going to pull out the bolt, saying, let's do it, let's put this one to bed. Let's get on to our winners qualifier match, please. Red missile behind it as well.
That's the moment right there. Just all the resources, 7 seconds remaining now. A whole lot left you can do. Not like you have the lives to be able to do it either. NYSL Mayhem comfortably just pushing that line of scrimmage forward. Time will be exhausted. And NYSL Mayhem will win their opening match comfortably, I would say, Alan, barring that necessary force of overtime in map number 2, 3-0.
Needed to see it if you're an NYSLM fan. Had to have it. I mean, there were really kind of a lot of questions going into this matchup. How good was India going to be this year? Especially considering not only the fact that Godlike Vitality in Stage 4 was a Game 7 affair, but also the bounce came through in their own individual tournament where Vitality was able to beat Godlike. So does that mean that India was going to be a region to deal with? It'd be kind of a threat? Or were we going to see NYSLM fix the problems that they had, find the remedies they need, and I'll say that they sure showed us at least some form of that. Hard to say for sure. This winners qualifier matchup is going to be the real look, I think, to see if they've really come together, but that's a good start for NYSLM.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's the first test, right? We were wondering what type of NYSL Mayhem we were going to get. Same could be said about Godlike, and NYSL Mayhem absolutely just lived up to their name and just brought sheer chaos throughout the entirety of it. I mean, 19-8 for Yawn, 16-9 for Space. They were just everywhere, and it was mostly just all off of their opening breaks, just completely spacing out the map and just waiting to see where Godlike were putting in the majority of their numbers. You got to see the collapse time and time again. Just I hate to sound like a broken record here after what we saw, the force overtime for map number 2 and then the control. The cohesion and teamwork is the same exact thing that I was talking about coming away from that P2 break initially in the first 10 seconds of Hacienda.
Hey, 4 out of the 5 members within essentially a kill of one another. That's also great news as far as equal slaying presence. Where on the other side, we didn't see the burns that we had for Stage 4.
That's right.
Before we kind of get done with the series, where do you kind of look at for Godlike to make themselves out of the lower round 1 matchup to have a chance at qualification?
Exclamation point regain, because that's quite literally where you need to be going forward. You need to be able to find some comfort. You only have such little time to be able to go back and look over the VOD to be able to get yourself back in towards that headspace, preparing for your next match, because now it is quite literally do or die. Yep,
absolutely. We can say that now. Love that. Look back over the series layout, though, again, pretty much comfortable on the respawns for NYSLM. Hacienda, it's one of those maps that you expect there to be a little bit of turmoil on rotation, but Mayhem were proactive throughout all of that, and that's great news, because that was another part of their game in Stage 4 that we were really kind of questioning. As you mentioned, the standoff was particularly close, and I will say for Godlike, if you're trying to get that exclamation point regain, you should feel pretty solid about your game plan in Surge, and that you were finding success with it. Just a couple of things went wrong for you, not quite able to get through the overtime.
Yep, it was quite literally all the back end of Trunks to be able to find all that space being provided for themselves. Obviously, the sniper duel wasn't exactly something you want to write home about. It's not easy when you have Little B on the other side of the stage. But hey, regardless of all of that, yeah, it's almost what we did expect Search and Destroy to be very competitive. There's a lot of things to obviously work on in such a short time to be able to do it when it comes down to the respawns. You can't just hope that you're going to be able to win Search and Destroys, because you have to somehow force a Game 5 along the way, and it's probably going to have to either be the controller or map 4.
I like the call, but with that, our first kind of leg of this group stage comes to a bit of an end, just waiting on the results from Stamina and Smart Omega to finish off that opening Group A, Group B matchup. We take things back to Degon and the desk to break down all the action that they've seen and maybe some of the stuff that we haven't seen yet. Boys and girls.
Thank you very much. Hit the proper great cast to kick things off here at the COD Mobile World Championship. And let's start with the series that we just saw finish up here. Bobby Plays, Beef Mommy here. NYSL Mayhem, that has to feel so good, because we were sitting in the back room, second map, and it's the same story over and over again. Nice lead. We win map 1, we get a little bit of break, but can we please close out a map? And we were thinking, oh, here it goes again, but they actually reversed it here and were able to close it out here, Bobby.
Yeah, especially on that flip over the defensive side. They looked way more confident than they did off the start right there. I think a big factor of that, Little B not really popping off in the early rounds. Once he gets going for them, he's definitely a big accelerator that can change the game, very similar to another player that we've seen in these stages in Whoopi. Both of those players can have a huge impact, especially in the Search and Destroy.
Honestly, Little B is someone that is so scary, not only in S&D, but also in the respawns as well. As you can see on your screen right now, with Little B having that 25K in that hardpoint Hacienda, it is really reminiscent of someone like Heaven that can definitely rock the sniper, but also can slay out into the respawn. So again, really impressive 3-0, but for me, the S&D was so close. Godlike gave everything that they could to close out the match, but obviously came up short.
Yeah, here on Hacienda, multiple times did Mayhem just break through the defense of Godlike, specifically in Garage. I remember multiple times it just felt like maybe Godlike got there first, but then Mayhem was able to break through. Here's that this Search and Destroy where we're like, all right, Mayhem, you guys are up. Come on, let's close this one out. And Godlike found ways to get back in, whether it was moments for Vegas or someone else coming on through. But eventually, it was Mayhem that did close it out.
And I think for Godlike, they had a lot of really good individual plays. I think we look at the hard point, you had multiple players going on 7 sprees. You look at the S&D, multiple players getting multi-kills as well, but it just didn't seem like the team cohesion was there. And I feel like that was the biggest game changer for NYSL, because you look at the hard point, you get players double, triple chelling on the entry into a hard point. That's really difficult to stop with a single player. And on the flip side, a lot of solo chells, you're just going to get torn apart.
Well, this is one thing that we actually saw. I remember when we were watching it at the back room, where we saw that I feel like Godlike had a little bit of an advantage having that peak, but they did not have the trigger control to keep their positioning, and eventually gave it away to NYSL. And that was supposed to be really big kills, but coming off of that Search and Destroy, we're going into that control slumps where it was a different story, and NYSL just absolutely crushed it.
Yeah, here in the second round, you're thinking like, okay, cool, like they're gonna get closed out here. But as I think Shiv said, all of a sudden the cap was open. You got the more time, and the 5-kill lead dwindled down to 2, which dwindled down to a deficit, and Godlike had no answers.
I mean, the thing about control is it's all about how you use your operators. You look especially at the start of the second round, everybody in NYSL had their operators ready to go. Godlike was using all of theirs for the entirety of the round, so you've got this big life lead, but you can't see all the utility that's available on the opposite side. You give away a complete capture, uncontested, you don't require any lives out of them, and after that, it just fell apart.
Well, I was saying earlier, we wanted to see good NYSL Mayhem, not bad NYSL Mayhem. And that's what we got, a 3-0 in the North American squad. Now sitting on top of the group here as we take a look at the group results from Group A and B. What jumps out at you?
Oh, so it's really heartbreaking for me to see that Godlike and Vitality, both from India, just having a scoreline of 0-1 that really just brings them down into that lower round 1. Ooh, really close games though for Smart Omega and Stamina, which we still have to see later on. But again, the second OT matchup that we saw in Search and Destroy, it came really close in firing range.
Yeah, exactly. I want to bring it back to what you were saying earlier about the 2 squads from India. Vitality taking the loss earlier as the number 2 seed, and then Godlike, high aspirations, the number 1 squad. And neither one of them having a great showing. I believe the Inco Stalwart match against Vitality, that was the one that wrapped up first. What do you do to bounce back from something like that?
I mean, you got to regain, you got to not think about the loss, and obviously that's not the way you want to start out, but that's the beauty of this format is regardless of where you are, you can always bounce back, and even starting off the first day, you just have as much chance as any other team to make it to the championship. So I think they can regain. A lot of it just feels like getting outgunned, and at this stage of the competition, there's not a ton that you can do about that. But I know this is a resilient team.
Yeah, you think of the for Vitality, they're going up against Strut, able to take that match against Wolves, and it's like that was a good start. Again, Wolves did go 3 more in a row after that, but you know that Strut showed up. Where do you find the beacon of hope here?
Well, they need to find the beacon of hope where they saw it in Hardpoint. They knew that they could slay out to Wolves, but obviously in that Search and Destroy, China teams, again and again, we keep saying they're so good at that S&D. The game mode that they really need to practice is that control matchup, the swing mode that we really like to see, because that's where everything really comes through. And for them to go up against Vitality, which is also shaking the beginning, they need to find a way to get that control game.
All right, well, that concludes Group A and B with Stamina and Omega still battling it out. But next up, we got Group C and Group D, and a prelude to what could possibly be the World Championship Finals here with QC and Tribe. It is going to be a huge one here. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the COD Mobile World Championships.
I mean, hey, NYSLM's got a little bit of a fan base going on today. I like it.
Absolutely popping off for them as well. You can hear NYSLM, you can hear the fan base. It just feels really, really nice. It feels normal to have it being done here.
Oh yeah, definitely, and I love the fact, again, we're in person, you can feel the energy, you can feel the vibes, and also, you know, you gotta roll with the punches every now and then. Sometimes things work, sometimes they don't, but it feels like everyone's here to play. Now let's get ourselves into the group stages one more time as we take a look at Group A and B. Smart Omega and Stamina still doing battling it out there for supremacy in Group A, but I heard their thoughts before. What are your thoughts here, Groups A and B results?
I think for the most part, we got what was expected in Group B. I think we got proved a point by NYSLM, kind of already establishing some groundwork for improvement. But I will say, the region that none of us are really talking about is Europe, and the fact that they're keeping that series close with Smart Omega is great news for the Stamina fans.
Yeah, we were hearing them pop off just behind us before we actually came back live for the desk. I think it is quite telling to be able to see that Europe is, in fact, keeping themselves very much so alive in a very contested group.
Well, we've got two more groups to do battle here, Group C and D, and let's dive into Group C by taking a look at the group stage bracket presented by Republic of Gamers. Scars and Influence Kemen on one side of the matchup, but again, these matchups are random, and it's Tribe and Q9 Club going head-to-head in what we all think are the two top teams in the world.
Yeah, the astonishment in your voice is well merited. These two teams very well could be the grand finals matchup for all we know. I mean, I think just based on expectations, there's a lot of excitement about both of these two teams individually. And hey, we don't have to wait very long to watch them play, which is great news.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be one of those things specifically because we do have Tribe and Q9. I believe that you even said it as well, Degon, is that this very much so could be a grand final in the making, considering the simple fact that Tribe, obviously #1 coming out from North America, can't be slept on whatsoever. Q9 got something to prove for themselves here on the international stage.
Right, Wolves taking the #1 seed from them, but Q9 still regarded as one of the best in the world. And also tells you, luck of the draw sometimes. Scars and Influence, Kevin, feeling pretty good. Now, of course, none of this would be possible without our friends over at ROG. And so we wanted to thank them and tell you a little bit about the phone. The upgraded Game Cool 6 cooling system on the ROG Phone 6 has an optimized thermal design that cools the CPU not only from the internal structure design, but also from the external gadget. The new Aero Active Cooler 6, which incorporates an AI-powered active cooling system. Get the thumbs up there, right from Proper. Thank you very much to our friends over at ROG. Now let's dive back into the Group C and talk about these teams. Let's start with Tribe. Now, resetting the stage for those that don't know, Tribe, obviously synonymous with mobile gaming excellence, but specifically here in COD Mobile, best of the West.
Without question, and the most undoubtable team out of the Western Hemisphere, or maybe just regionally overall over the course of every year we've seen out of COD Mobile. And the cool thing about this Tribe team is, even though it's largely an unchanged roster, a lot of excitement about Jez, the rookie that's up, just turned 18. Can compete, and he looked really good in stage 4.
Casual 1.82 coming out of stage 4. I mean, you look at the pedigree for this Tribe roster as a whole. First in Western Finals, first in stage 3, first in stage 4. They have a somewhat of a target on their back. I know that there's a majority of teams back there that just want to see how they do stand up against this #1 team out of North America.
And again, this is a mixture of new players and vets that have returned from last year's West Championship. What is that combination got to be like? Like, what are you expecting from someone who's been there before and now the young gun that's being shepherded in?
Confidence. That's the one word that you have to assume is going to be the case. And I will say, talking with these Tribe guys, they will let you know how confident they're feeling when they're on stage. So that's an another part of it, you know, is that kind of NA wildness going to maybe overwhelm just the mental game coming into this? Because if they could beat you in mental warfare, believe me you when I tell you that they're going to also dominate you on the gameplay as well.
I think it's also really nice as well for Jetson to be able to be surrounded by all these veterans as well. You know, Call of Duty's history has always been it kind of made in the notion that these young rookies that can come out and absolutely slay feel that much more comfortable when they have a veteran voice behind them targeting where they should be on the map.
Yeah, and so far in groups A and B, it felt like the Western teams were the ones that had not only the pop-offs on stage, but the pop-off squads here. So shout outs to Stamina Squad as well, that are making noise throughout. Asian teams haven't quite done that as much yet. Now, let's take a look at the flip side, their opponent in Q9 Club from the East, from China. Again, one of the biggest, strongest regions in COD Mobile, in gaming in general. But what should we expect from them as we look at this matchup head-to-head?
I think the biggest thing is, you know, they came up short in their region, which feels bad. But at the same point, even during the Fall Invitational just a couple of weeks ago, it wasn't as convincing as I think a lot of people would have expected from this Q9 team. And maybe some of that, like Bobby and Aliana were saying, is because of the difference in maps, the difference in modes. But now those excuses aren't there anymore. And you have a chance to steal that spotlight that Proper was talking about by taking down the #1 team in a lot of people's minds right here in your opening matchup.
Yeah, and again, coming from the region that they do, especially in Q9, I will say this much, that the Search and Destroy will have a magnifying glass over top of it. You got to be able to have that map #2 to be able to force the hand. But Q9 is actually one of those teams, funny enough, that I was talking about when I was just casting with you, Alan, is that they aren't feeling too hot right now on the patch. They were specifically saying that the chemistry's not there. You have to wipe that slate clean, especially when you're coming for the king.
When you look at this roster here, again, guys that have been there before in terms of high pressure situations and finding success, but you wonder what the travel was like. You saw Wolves, they got sprung upon there early on in their matchup against Strut. Will the same thing happen with what we imagine is a much tougher opponent in Tribe?
You have to assume that there's going to be a little bit of that kind of wake-up period, just because of the fact that the travel was so extraneous on how long they were going. I mean, even the fact that there was, I'm sure, plenty of stress leading up to the event, like were they even going to be able to get the visas to be here? So the fact that now you're here, I think the biggest thing is you have to settle in, and you cannot allow this Tribe team to take things over from the word go. You have to come out, play your game, trust that your prep is good, and even though you have fallen short in the past, you still are one of the best teams as expected to be here at this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I love that phrase again, just to play your own game, to meet the pace of Tribe and respond accordingly. That Q9 cannot afford to lose that mental warfare that you were talking about, Alan, especially with this roster sticking together what they were doing, especially through what tournaments that they played in such recent time.
You know, they're, again, Q9 looking to grab the spotlight and show that they are #1, and they've got to do it through the best in the West. Tribe still has a lot to prove. Again, big legacy to stand up to across all mobile games, and also their own bar that they've set over the last year, 2 years of COD Mobile. So here we go. This is going to be their first step to do it now. We're still waiting for some of the players on the stage to get ready for our alpha, so we'll be hopping into one of the other games very shortly. So in the meantime, I wanted to get your thoughts in terms of this stage and in terms of the stage nerves for everyone. Not only are you playing right now, but you know that you're being surrounded by other matches that are happening. You got to be able to block that out.
Yes, you do, because let's be honest, it's going to get pretty noisy up there as we get deeper through these groups. I mean, these opening rounds may be a little bit more tame, but you expect that when the qualifiers start to happen for these groups, you're going to start to hear some shouting coming through, and you need to be able to control that energy and not get out of hand.
Well, pretty difficult to do shouting when you hear both English squads coming out right now, which is actually what we're going to hop to in game right now. I believe it's Luminosity from North America up against Nova in Europe. So that's going to be one where teams are popping up. They're popping up in English, but these two squads going head to head.
Yeah, I think that it's one of those things that we were going to be talking about extensively when it comes down to Luminosity and anybody else really coming out from Europe. Both of these two teams really trying to put themselves on the map and make their region feel very respected.
Yeah, as you can see there on the bottom, if you wanted to follow along in this matchup, this will be on the Bravo stream once we get our Tribe and Q9 matchup set up. But it's a 3-0 lead so far, specifically in this map, and a 1-0 series lead right now for the North American kit.
And this is great news for Luminosity, who are also dealing with a little bit of a last-second roster addition of Jesus Saves, who has been one of the, I would say, most fun players to watch in the North American region. So to see him kind of joining the squad, finding early success, great news.
Jesus Saves having the highest KDA in North America from stage 4. And then obviously filling in pretty well here for Luminosity, as they are looking pretty good here against Nova. Another one of those squads with great mobile, mobile esports pedigree, and trying to live up to that. But we're seeing the different strengths from the different regions play out early on. Obviously, India not where they wanted to be. North America surprising others. And then Europe. Europe's one of those in the middle where we weren't sure what to expect. Strut still taking Omega a little bit there. Nova struggling right now against Luminosity, and then Strut, finishing in that, surprise win earlier on. Where do we think Europe's going to finish up?
It's funny that you do mention that, because it's one of those things that we all ended up talking about, that when you think about the strongest regions out there, Europe is not one of them. So Europe coming into an international event, and you have been able to have at least a comfortable stage 4 against your own region, I honestly think that Europe are going to be able to stand up quite well. I mean, even against like the Chinese teams that we were just seeing, even in those earlier rounds, they didn't look half bad. Yeah,
the worry was that they would get kind of blown away in a game like that. But that's not what happened.
Not at all. I think that's great news that you come out, you're fighting. The problem is there's not much of a lifeline out here. So as much as we could sit there and, blow some sunshine towards their direction, you still have to get through these well-rehearsed international squads. And even though the map 1 win like from Strut, surprise, we didn't really expect them to do too much when it came to playing up against those powerhouses. Right. That's cool, great, but in the end, you still have to be able to finish out these series and actually do something to tell us that, yes, Europe is a major contender at this tournament.
So speaking of surprises, right, just like Strut was able to pull one out there, I think the other one that we're all waiting to see, which is coming up very, very soon, is Scars from Japan.
Yeah.
Where will Japan sit in this region as well, or in this regional conversation as well? Because for every other team, you get to say, okay, we have regional strength and individual strength. Scars being the only team from Japan, you got to figure out where you sit in all of that, and they got a fruitful draw not to go up against Tribe or Q9. They go up against Influence Kemen to start things off.
But you still have that looming in the distance, right? You know you're probably going to have to face either Tribe or Q9 maybe once, if not twice, throughout the entirety of just the group stage alone. And not to mention the pressure, coming back to land and representing your entire region as the only team. I mean, they got to show up and absolutely slay out.
The biggest thing is it a big fish in a small pond? Like, it's cool, I think, to have, the whole country's behind you.
Right.
But we didn't really see much competition in Japan. I mean, Scars was flawless. No one really even touched them. I mean, the whole broadcast was over in like 2 hours, it felt like. It was over as soon as it started. And that has to be something that we really evaluate for this Scars team is, are they really, really solid? And is that region just kind of a little lopsided? Or is this just one big fish that kind of has, its own thing going for it in its own region?
Right, and that's part of the difficulty. If you drop down to the elimination bracket, it's do or die time, and you have to tell yourself, you have to be forgiving to yourself. Be like, all right, we just played up against the best team in the world. That's what we got to tell ourselves, and now we're going to bounce back right here, especially because we found regional success, and we know that we're a great team from all of the tests that we've had. How can we test outside of what we know? And so hopefully Scars will be able to do that, or Influence Kemen, whoever comes out on the bottom side.
Yeah, and it's that phrase, you're living rent-free in my head right now, brother, is you have to come in and play your own game. What was your strengths coming out from your region as a whole? We talked about that with Godlike when Alan and I were casting.
Yeah.
It was the search and destroy, and they did look very good on that. Obviously, respawns were not necessarily there. But for Scars, you have to just be able to come in and just lean on the strengths, lean on your vetoes, and whatever is comfortable for you to be able to take as many maps as possible.
Well, what happens when you start losing, too? Like,
right.
You don't expect them to win every map here. You're going to be playing up against some good teams. So if you do find yourself behind, how do you play recovery after that?
Yeah, well, they'll have to figure that one out when they find themselves behind. Right now, falling a little bit behind with all 4 games getting set up. So we're going to take a short 5-minute break. When we come back, we'll hop into groups C and D for the Call of Duty Mobile World Championship. Don't go anywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty Mobile World Championships. I'm joined by the one and only Beef Mommy, and we are heading into what I would say is the most highly anticipated match of the day. The Kings of the West, Tribe Gaming, going up against Q9, who has been very dominant recently. Beef Mommy, how you feeling?
Man, we just saw the most anticipated group of the day, which is Group A, and now we're heading off into what is the question mark. Who is going to win between the Reds today, Q9 or Tribe? But obviously there's going to be a lot more matches up next, so I'm really excited. If you guys just came into the stream right now, we already saw a bunch of 3-0s at exception of one, which is a Charlie stream, Strut versus like another team that was really good actually. I'm really surprised with Wolves. Yes, they lost that hard point, but again, all 3-0s across the board. But now let's see if it's going to be the same thing here, Q9 and Tribe. What are your thoughts?
I mean, both regions off the start, what we've seen from them look very strong. We saw NYSL from that North American region, third seed, still got the 3-0. Wolves, a little bit of a slow start, but they bounced back, and even in their second hardpoint matchup, they were still able to get the win pretty easily. So heading into this one, I think it's going to be a battle of the modes. I think it's all going to come down to control. That's my expectation, because we've talked about that being the swing mode for basically the entirety of the event. And I think with how dominant Tribe is in hardpoint, how dominant Q9 is in Search and Destroy, I'm really hoping we get a Game 5 out of it.
You are absolutely right. Control will definitely be that swing mode. We already know that Tribe very good at the hardpoint games, and for Q9, Search and Destroy is definitely their favorite. But for me, firing range being the map choice, I feel like that's going to be really interesting for Tribe to actually go and win. But I'm really hoping that they did have a really good run, because they did go up against Luminosity, won that 7-4. So that was the last time they actually played in firing range S&D. But for the side of Q9, well, they feel like they need to kind of step it up in this particular matchup, because they haven't really played it too much. The last time they did, it was up against the Wolves, which they did win.
Yeah, this is a bunch of really interesting map picks, because I know that not a lot of players love Raid Hardpoint. I know that North America doesn't like Hacienda, and we're playing that for Control as well. But I think Tribe taking a little bit of an advantage for themselves. We got a Slum, Search, and Destroy. I think if it does go to a Game 5, that tends to be the one map where teams that are not as Search and Destroy dominant can seem to find the edge. So I think heading into this one, obviously got to give the edge to Tribe. Their #1 go-to game mode has always been Hardpoint. Their gun skill, their teamwork, just phenomenal across the board. And it looks like we are ready to hop into the action.
Let's see how we're going to do it. Q9, Island, D-Chen, Oling, Tang, Dam. And for Tribe, we have Jez, Bolu, Tectonic, Vague, and Marshy. Let's see who's going to start things up. Jez getting that beautiful kill. Let's see if he can finally get one more. Oling's going to be in a little bit of a pickle up here in top laundry. Going to be proning just a tiny bit, slowing things down, but Tribe still has a solid hold here in P1.
And we saw the Tribe and Q9 guys talking yesterday about whether they were just going to agree to GA the SKS. Does look like they have done exactly that. So lots of Krigs in play for Q9. A little bit of a slow start, but the kills starting to come through. They're able to find the break right here, and some solid map control up by top laundry for Uling. He's able to find 4 early kills, and I've heard a lot of players from a lot of different regions talk about his dominance and how difficult he is to kill. We'll see what type of impact he has for Q9 today.
Oling already having 4 to his name. The next person up to him is actually going to be Jez having that 5. So I feel like it's going to be them, the MVPs for sure. Oling being one of the best China teams, China players here. And now as we slow things down yet again, they're going to be trying to go in for that anchor point, where player #1 is Jez trying to anchor that point up against Oling. Speaking up, but Oling wins that gunfight.
That's an absolutely massive gunfight. Locks in the spawns right there. They're able to break the hard point immediately. Players still spawning across the map for both teams right now. And it looks like Tribe's going to be able to hit the flank. Might be able to anchor spawns right here if they can win a couple of gunfights. That's going to be the opener, and that is huge. Q9 players spawning all the way across the map. And now an opportunity for Tribe to potentially get 30 more points. A little bit of a slow start for Island, but he's able to bounce back and able to occupy the hard point. So even with limited resources right here, they're still locking in the hard point time. Tribe not really capitalizing on what they've got right now, but they break back in and definitely got the setup to get the rest of those 20 seconds. Everybody on Q9 very happy to set up on the inside of that money hill.
Very early rotation coming in from Q9. That was going to be player number 3 and 1. That is Oling and Dam trying to go in there very early in the rotation and just give up with the scrap points. And that allows Tribe to get them a little bit of a lead. And now let's see what we can do to find going for the pick. But then one by one, they drop like flies. And Q9, 2 only inside of the hard point, as we see the rest of Tribe's actually going to be funneling it through into the backside.
And right now the spawns are still pretty good for Q9. You got the reinforcements coming from Driveway, so they're still chilling. Tribe, main goal right here is probably just to contest as much as they want. No, they don't want to contest. They want the hard point for themselves. They're going to be able to break in right there. And now Marshy on that back doorway, the Purifier, he's going to be able to find one, and looks like he's working on some streaks as well. A couple more should be able to lock in the Pred missile, especially come that basketball court hard point. He can get some big value out of that. But Tribe, as expected, the dominant hardpoint team, and no surprise, 2020 MVP for North America, Tectonic. 11 kills on the board already. He has definitely turned out to be a huge leader for this team, and he is popping off the start.
That was a good break coming in from Tribe, and Q9 kind of, let it go because they went in for the early rotation, planning to get that full 60, but unfortunately for them, couldn't sustain very well. Same case goes over here. Early rotation coming into basketball, and as they're trying to get a hold of the spawns, not really quite winning the gunfights, as we see player number 2 up in Spiral. That's going to be Bolu getting a lot of these kills as well, and not just that, secures it just for a moment. But player number 1 coming in from Q9, that is Dam, tries to flush out all the players, but we can see over here, spawn control for Tribe.
And the thing about raid hardpoint, especially when it comes to basketball, there is no spawn control. You just try to stay in the right spot and hope nobody spawns on top of you, but it looks like they're going to be able to do exactly that, forcing Q9 to spawn out toward that pool side. It looks like they will continue to do so, as right now Tribe contend to just continue flooding on in. They're going to spawn a little bit higher up. Player spawns directly in front. D-Chen, unfortunate timing for him, and it continues to go the way of Tribe. Marshy doing everything he can to stay alive. Q9 able to break in, at least for the time being. But with only 15 seconds left to be gained right here, you gotta focus on that rotation up to P5.
Scrap points not being taken right now by Q9, but as I said that, player number 3, that's going to be Oling, tries to get whatever scraps they have, because it's 58 and 129. The points are going so far away. And now finding the rotation also very early from Q9. That's one thing I must commend them, is that the early rotation, but Jez having the Pred stops the push.
There's just so much gun skill on this Tribe Gaming team. You look across the board. The only player not above 10's Marshy, and he's the OBJ man. He does the dirty work for the squad. Uling doing everything he can to snake his way in. Jez finally going to get dropped right there, but the rookie having his way in this matchup. 18 kills on the board already. And Q9 really struggling to keep up. It just doesn't really seem like the teamwork's there. A lot of individual shells, and they're getting absolutely picked apart. Bolu going to pick up the scrap time here as well. And it may very well be a full 60 for Tribe. I take that back. Instant break for Q9. But they've got a lot of work to do if they're going to have a chance of getting back into this one.
Tribe gives away this particular hard point and moves on to the next. The setup very clean as they take out all the players all around P1. They have control of top laundry. I mean, that is a really good setup, especially player number 1 off in Driveway. That's going to be really big. But good for him that Tang actually finally gets a really important kill. But 9 to his name, it seems like gun skills, Q9 struggling up against Tribe.
Yeah, and to be honest, this is not surprising. This is a Tribe Gaming team that has been known for their gun skill basically as long as they've existed. Tectonic, an absolute beam right there. Opposition has zero chance. Dueling from the top side, going to be able to find a kill. But as long as Tribe has those top laundry spawns, there's not a whole lot Q9 can do. We got one player on the flank, and just like that, the spawns are going to go ahead and flip. An opportunity, and if you're Q9, you can go 40-20 right here, but you don't have enough time to continue going 40-20 splits. You've got to get some full 60s, and it's going to take some big sprees. Tang's on a 4 right now. He's trying to get 5. He does exactly that. Staying alive, and he's almost on a Pred missile. They're going to close that gap a little bit, cross the 100-point line, and it seems like the momentum's starting to swing a little bit. We'll see what Tribe can do to counter.
But it's all right. It's okay, because Q9's going to get in any other way. As we can see here, finally the rotation comes through into Kitchen. Both of them still not having a solid hold here in Kitchen so far. And now we actually saw 100 points in between them, but now the gap slowly closes, and still a lifeline coming from Q9 if they get a solid hold here.
Right now, Tang's just hoping nobody comes through that doorway. Purifier still in hand, got a little bit more to use, and he's going to find one on the backside, but Tribe still controlling those spawns, and as long as that's happening, there is no real hope for Q9 finding a break right here. They've got to find a flank. Dam's going to be able to find one, and oh my gosh, does he get obliterated by the claw right there. Jez doing everything he can to defend on the inside, and he is tearing them apart, and there's the reinforcements for Tribe. That's that teamwork, the cohesion on point, the communication is there. They're still on the inside of the hard point and only 40 points away from closing out map 1.
This is something similar that we saw in that first respawn, where we saw a very early rotation coming in from Q9 here in Garage, and now no contest whatsoever. Scrap points going to the favor of Tribe, where you should not be doing that in the first place. And now for Tribe, they did such an amazing job at the break a while ago, and now let's see if they can finally take it, but maybe they can as Tang gets 2. That's going to be really big for them. And now for Tribe, they only have one operator to try and go and fill it.
Yeah, right now the operator availability is very, very low. This is what we typically consider to be a money hill, but Q9 was not really able to get a whole lot of time despite their early rotation the first time around, and just like that, Tribe's gonna break on in. Uling, the only one there to defend, he gets shut down, and if I had to guess, that might be the end of map 1. Tribe, so clean on the breaks, the holds have been untouchable. Tang's got a freaking EMP system, but this late in the game is not going to be able to do anything. And you can see the importance that the teamwork playing for Tribe Gaming right now. A dominant map 1.
2 points left. Contest for just about half a second. There you go, Tribe Gaming. A very convincing first win here in Hardpoint Raid. And this is what we expected in the first place. What a beautiful win, and the breaks are just so clean, Bobby. Yeah. Every single lane they covered, especially in Garage, where it's supposed to be the hardest to go and break, they cover all 3 entrances.
Yeah, it wasn't close. Tribe was in control the entire time. There were some points it looked like Q9 might be able to flip the momentum a little bit, but there was not a single negative player on Tribe Gaming in that matchup, and that tells a big portion of the story. Bolu, Tectonic, Marshy doing the dirty work. I mean, if you look across the board, there's no one absolute OBJ player. That's the beauty of their play style. Everybody has that ability to stay alive on the inside of the hard point and be where their team needs them to be. So Vega and Jez going to be at the top of the scoreboard, but everybody, huge contributions.
Honestly, for me, one of the biggest reasons why Tribe actually won, I mean, yes, they are really good at the gun skills, but you're taking a look at why. It's because they have better gun composition. They have different SMGs. They got the Krig 6, they have the CBR. But for Q9, they all ran 4 people, Krig 6, and 1 CBR. Maybe that is the biggest difference as to why Tribe kept on winning those close range engagements.
Now, coming into this, I did expect Tribe to win map 1. We talked about they're a hardpoint team, Q9's an S&D team. Now, if we see Tribe take the S&D, then Q9 starts to get really, really worried, because not only does that mean you got to win 2 straight respawns, but if Tribe's got the ability to beat Q9 in S&D, then I think they can beat just about anybody. So I'm not expecting Q9 to lay down right here. I think they're definitely going to step their game up. It should be a very, very interesting firing range, especially with the sniper dominance that we've seen for a lot of these Chinese players.
I think the question is it going to be as close as we think it is, or is it going to be really just far away, kind of like what we saw in that hard point matchup? So really excited to see it, because as we keep hyping up Q9, really good at S&D, really, I don't know, disciplined when it comes to the gameplay. And for sure, they're one of the teams like, okay, we're going to be losing that hard point. But we already saw that a while ago from Wolves, where they did lose that up against Strut. Now let's see if it's going to be the same story here, where the Chinese team struggling at the hard point, but great at the S&Ds.
Yeah, the one thing that I would say characterizes the Chinese search and destroy is aggression. You will never see people fly across the map with as much confidence as these guys do. It'll be interesting to see the clash of the play styles, because North America has definitely been known to have a much more passive play style, and obviously that helped them to excel on that map 1, but when it comes to the search and destroy, especially if you're confident heading into it, that can play a huge role, and if you can catch the opposing team off guard, get you out to a big lead early on.
Let's see. Offensive, defensive side. We already saw some of the teams kind of just struggling when it comes to the offense. We saw that a while ago in Godlike versus Mayhem, where they just struggled for the offense. But coming in for Q9, though, especially especially in their last tournament, that's going to be CDFI, where they had a flawless run in Search and Destroy, almost at least. They had one little mashup against Almighty. But taking a look at what we have for a team like Tribe, where they're definitely a little bit up and down when it comes to their S&D matches, but a very well-balanced team. I mean, I cannot complain at all when it comes to this team because they deliver every single time on every single game mode.
Absolutely. Looking at some of our other matchups right now, we've got other North American teams in action. Luminosity, the number 2 team coming out of North America. They currently sit up 2-0 over Nova with an opportunity right here as they take the first round of the control as well. You guys can check that out on the other streams. We also have Scars and Influence Kemin going at it right now with Scars in the lead early on. That was a team that had a very big question mark coming into this because nobody really knows what to expect out of them, but looks like they're delivering. We'll see if Q9 can do just that heading into this second map. Definitely a big proving point, and we'll see if that confidence pays off, but forgetting to pick up the bomb off the start, not a great start.
You know what, we're not going to talk about that. We didn't see that one at all, but again, very passive. This is very surprising to me because like what we said before is that Q9, they're usually very aggressive off the rip, and now, let's see it. But then gun carrier, that's going to be really hard as Vay gets that first blood, as Dam goes down. Not just that, the bomb is going to be going down as well, and now 1v1s are happening all across the board, and Marshy wins one of them.
That's a huge trade right there. Island's going to drop as well. Bolu pulling out the snipe, and I mean, off the start, Tribe not losing any confidence after that map number 1. We did see a fairly aggressive push into some unusual angles, and to be honest, from what I've seen of the Chinese teams, they don't play a ton of firing range search and destroy, and it's showing right now. Bolu with the nade, Vay with another. Round number 1 looking a little bit lopsided right there.
God nades all across the board. We saw Bolu cooking out that beautiful nade, and that was just fantastic timing on his end. Really good confidence for this team, but Q9 still not over. It's only round number 1, so there's still a lot to show for. As we slow things down yet again, it's really uncharacteristic of Q9 to be so passive off of the really good start.
Yeah, I mean, they had solid map control. We had Island push all the way up into trailer, and to be honest, the weirdest thing is that Tribe didn't have anybody in trailer, but they were able to bait them into that aggression and catching them off guard because naturally Q9's going to expect somebody to be there. Jez is going to do exactly that. He finds one before getting traded out, and that's where you see that aggression come to play, but Bolu counters once again. Sniper in hand. He's got 3 on the board already. Uling going to be forced to unshell, and we haven't really seen the snipes have much of an impact for Q9 so far. Obviously, Uling going to be another one of those players that you got to watch. Tang going to play the backside of the bomb site. Bolu not able to find the timing over top of the bomb head glitch, and now it's a little bit of a waiting game, but Uling going to get dropped right there. It's all down to Tang, and he's just hoping the timing goes his way, but you can hear the footsteps on the inside of trailer. He's going to be able to find one, but can't get the turn onto Vague, and back-to-back rounds for Tribe Gaming off the start.
That was beautiful. That was a really good take, especially being very passive, knowing very well that you mentioned it before, that we already know that Tribe is going to be passive off the start, and now for Q9, it's just they're falling apart. Like what you said, there is no sniper presence whatsoever here, but as we said that, it has to be Uling stepping it up when it comes to the snipes, and not just that, the information for them.
Well, right here, Jez is going to get way pushed up on the inside of trailer, and more than likely, I didn't see anybody getting information. This could cause huge issues for Q9. He said, I'm going to push all the way over the wood. Vague's going to find 2 with the Krieg in hand, and Q9 is absolutely scrambling right here, trying to stay alive, but they've only got 1 player left in Tang. They are getting completely fried by this Tribe Gaming roster, and Tang right now with an impossible task, especially with the confidence that Tribe has played with so far. You feel like the odds of a 1v4 pretty astronomically low.
This is a lopsided 3 rounds so far, and we did not expect this at all, but Tang is going to be bunched up in the corner. He's going to be pinched right now, 2 players on each side. Now, what can you do? I mean, all you need to do is challenge, check your corners right, but then it's going to be very hard, as we like to see that Tribe has this passive nature. I like this discipline coming in from this team because they're not pushing whatsoever. They don't have to. They're at the defense. They're just waiting for the plant.
Yeah, right now he's just playing the waiting game. There's two players waiting for him on this bomb site. Vague probably heard the slide right here. He's going to see the feet. Able to take down one. Smoke going to go down. I don't think he realizes that Tectonic's on the backside. He definitely does not, and he's going to get pinched right here. There's no real chance. I don't know how Tech hasn't taken him down yet, but it's only a matter of time, it seems, at this point. They're closing in from the backside. Tech's going to pick up the kill right there. And now 3-0. I was hoping for a 5-game series, but with the way this one's gone so far, it doesn't feel like the odds are super high.
The timing of that, when he barely saw Marshy, didn't see him, unfortunately. He could have won that gunfight easily, rated down to a 2v1. But again, it's just really hard in that high-pressure situation that Q9 is really put in right now. 3-0. Here at round number 4. Let's see what difference they can go and do. Again, forgetting to get the bomb. It looks like they don't want to pick it up at all. We've seen this already before, where they just trying to go in guns out.
Yeah, I just don't know what's happening. I mean, and they're getting gunned by SMGs across map when they've got snipers. It looks like they're not agreeing to the GA anymore, because D-Chen's going to pull out the SKS as well. They're pulling out everything they possibly can to try to get the win right here, but I talked a lot about their aggression in S&D. Tribe is matching them, if not exceeding them, in that category right now. And man, oh man, these Q9 players struggling to find kills.
Speaking of struggling, Dam and Island having 0 kills, and we're already here at round number 4, just struggling to get that. And Oling with the 2, very unlike him. And now if you look at the other side, Big having that 6, that is just great. Jazz gets 1 more. Plan is going to be going down, but Dam, signs of life for him and his team. 2v1 situation where he's in a really good spot to try and spot 2 of those players. Information gets 1. Knows very well this is the next one's over there. Marcy goes down. 1v1 situation. There you go. Doesn't win it. Just wins those. And now another round going in for Tribe Gaming.
Huge opportunity to swing the momentum right there. And once again, Tribe shuts it down. Jez clutching up in the 1v1 to end that one out. And man, oh man. 7-0 in S&D over Q9 would be like one of the most shocking things that we see this weekend. So I anticipate at some point, maybe it'll be when we flip sides, whatever it is. At some point, Q9's got to bounce back, surely, right?
Oh, Dam's just like, he's just standing over there. He reconnected. I feel like there's some issues when it comes to the connection of some of these players, but Tang punches him out, knocks him out, and Bolu goes down. And now they're spread out all across the map, all of these players, and now it's going to be a 1v1 situation for all across the bombs. But then here we go. It's going to be a 3v2 favoring Q9.
It looks like maybe Q9 has flipped a switch right here. The bomb's down over on the A site. D-Chen looking to pinch right here. He's going to have a Jez to deal with. That's big information. That's a free kill, and now all down to Tectonic. We've seen him do some crazy things, but trying to 1v3 with this little time to work with just doesn't seem super doable. So he's going to be able to find one onto D-Chen right there. Pushes down. He's got time to work with, but that's 2 nasty head glitches that he's got to deal with right there. Damn, shuts him down. 7-0 no longer in play, and some signs of life out of Q9.
That was a good round from Q9. What they did was they isolated the players of Tribe and did multiple 1v1s all across the map, and maybe that's something that they need to utilize, because so far they've been met with such great force, brute force coming in from Tribe Gaming. And not just that, it's the matter of fact that the snipers of Tribe is just a little bit too overwhelming, and the nades, the god nades, the amount of nades that we saw today from Tribe, definitely really impressive to shut down Q9.
Well, Q9 gonna switch things up, go for a B push right here. He's still got a Tectonic in the backside they gotta deal with, but that's just a trophy. Tech's gonna drop right there, and now the aggression's starting to pay off. Tribe not sure how to counter right here. We see the Q9 man advantage go through, but D-Chen's gonna drop, and it's gonna be a 3v3 with the bomb down right here. Uling finally finds a big snipe on Marshy right there, but just like that, Bolu fires back. 2v2, 30 seconds remaining. That trophy gonna disappear. Jez trying to get some information with the nade, but he doesn't read Uling around the corner, and now it's down to a 1v1. Bolu versus Uling. A huge swing round potentially right there. Bolu hoping to bait him in, but he's not gonna peek around quite yet. Uling playing the waiting game. Will the timing go his way? It definitely does. Bolu goes big for Tribe Gaming. And the ball back in their court. 5-1 is the lead.
Bolu was such a key player in that matchup, and he almost got away with one more kill a while ago. But hey, Tang actually almost got that kill off of him as well, but the timing, obviously with COD timing, he was right in the back. And then when they went in there for the take, he had the boxing gloves out, but then obviously wasn't able to pull out his gun on time. And now we get to see it. Another take coming in from Tribe as we see finally the switcheroo.
Bolu is no stranger to these big moments. The winningest player in probably in COD Mobile history. If you look at overall tournament titles, he goes big for his team. And off the start, Q9 going to find the advantage again. Uling's able to drop Bolu, and that's a huge factor to take out of the equation. Now Marshy and Tectonic going to be left all alone right here. And they're kind of isolated in the back of the map. They have no information right now. Tech going to make an audio cue, and you'd have to guess Island's probably going to be able to sniff him out right here. He's going to find one on Marshy, and just like that, 1v4 once again. Tectonic, he's a great player, but to try to 1v4 in this situation, not going to seem super doable. And Tang drops things down right there. Q9 still alive, but once again, a lot of work to do.
Looks like the defense is working out for them just a little bit. Looking like they're more of a defensive team this time around. And now for Tribe, needs to find a way to answer back. And now it looks like aggression going into Alpha as well as they stack it. But for Q9, they're actually going to be flowing through into mid, all the way into trailer.
This is very unusual. Tribe sends everybody A, Q9 sends nobody. Multiple players flood through mid right there. And if we can take a look at the minimap, it might give us a little bit of a better idea. A couple players set up for the flank. Couple making their way on into trailer, and just like that, Uling finds the opener onto Marshy. Set up on the inside, gonna be able to find one. Uling finds Vague right there. The angles are too clean, and right now Tribe's got no map control. Dam's gonna find another one right there. Tribe struggling to find these Q9 players. D-Chen and Dam shut it down, and definitely looking like the defensive side is the one to be favored in this matchup.
What a round for both of these teams. Tribe went in there very aggressively going into Alpha, not clearing out any other space but that site. And now for Q9, was able to spread all of their players out, having sites in American, mid, and also in Bathroom where they won a lot of their gunfights. And now looking like it's going to be a similar situation here.
You can start to hear the confidence building for those Q9 players. They're very content to send nobody on over to A. Not only does that mean they don't have to give up lives, but it baits out so much utility out of Tribe as well. And you got to think whenever it comes to the retake, that puts them in such a rough spot. Obviously, the trophy's down, but Q9's ready for it. They're just content to go for the 5-man retake every single time. They feel that good about their map control, and right now, get Tribe pushed a little bit further back. They got players on the inside of Bathrooms, and Marshy's going to find a big opener. Tech drops another there as well. They got to apply all this pressure from the backside toward American, and Vague peeking over top. He doesn't miss a bullet. Uling, the last one left. He's going to miss a couple shots, does manage to connect, but a 1v5 up against 19 seconds on the clock just doesn't seem to be in the cards for him. Tribe wins another round. They are 1 round away from closing out this second map.
1 round away from making it a 2-0, and that was a beautiful response from a flank from Q9. Now for Tribe, that is going to be a really good start because it was looking kind of shaky when it comes to the attacking side, but they finally knew that Q9 is probably going to give it away for a retake. And now that's going to be really big for Tribe, and now closing it out is probably going to be very difficult, but for a team like Tribe, it's going to be easy.
Feel like Q9 got a little bit predictable. Tribe knows you're going to give them a completely free A bomb site. You know, to leave players back there on the flank to at least maintain some semblance of map control. And now Q9 is going to have to reevaluate if they want to continue to give up that A site for free. Doesn't really seem like a viable option with the way that Tribe was able to play that one. And we do see some more players going on over toward that A site. Actually a pretty heavy defense, and Tribe knows it's going to happen. They're like, all right, we'll bait out an aggressive defense out of you, but Uling's going to find the opener onto Marshy.
Look at this aggression coming in from Q9, but there's going to be a lot of trades coming through as a 3v3 situation is going to ensue here in Alpha. And now the one player coming in from Q9, that's going to be Island in Bravo, finally goes in for the reposition. And that allows Tribe to go in there for that A site. But that's going to be good because they need to slow things down just a little bit because they got a little bit too aggressive into the first start of this round. Now 2 players wanting to go in for the flank. That's going to be Oling, and player number 5, it's Island.
Uling gets the information right there, but the bomb's down. He's in a rough spot. Big, he just says, I want to chow. Uling makes him pay right there. The remaining Tribe players get shut down basically simultaneously, and a very quick retake for the Q9 players. That information from the inside of trailer playing a crucial role, and right now, Tribe's got the opportunity to close it out, but it's just tough to read. Very good adjustments out of Q9 to counter over there on the A site. We'll see if they can continue to do that.
That was such a good readjustment coming in from Q9, being so aggressive after being so passive in the last 2 rounds before that. And now, being passive for both of these teams, but that also allows Q9 to go into jungle, giving that information. Jazz gets one, Tan goes down, but Island gets in for the trade. And now it's just Q9 all across the board. 2v4 situation. They're going to be backed up, but again, player number 3, that's Tectonic, it's going to be slowing things down as the reconnect finally needs to get through, but we are going to stop things over here. We're going to restart it really quick. We're going to stop this matchup as we see kind of a little bit of a trouble when it comes to the phones right now, but you know, we're just going to wait for it. But how about for you, Bobby? What do you think is happening when it comes to Q9? Because I feel like in the last 3 rounds that we saw, 2 of them, they're being played very passively, which should not have happened in the second time around. Went very aggressive the 3rd time. I feel like they should have been doing that the entire time.
I think it's a big game of chess because there's no one approach that has worked every time for either of these teams. They've thrown different looks. We've seen the aggression over on the A side. We haven't seen a ton of B looks, but that's mainly because the B looks have gotten shut down immediately. So I think if you're Tribe, you do try to slow things down. I feel like there's a pretty easy opportunity to bait Q9 in. It's just about playing the proper positions in order to actually be able to make it happen. So we'll see if maybe they can bounce back. And right now it looks like we might be hopping back into the matchup. Not 100% positive. Looking at our other matchups that are happening right now, Influence Kemen is absolutely frying Scars right now. 5-0 is the round count. Obviously, Scars taking map number 1, but they were a big question mark in this one, and especially for this to be the number 3 team coming out of LATAM. Big performance for them.
The reason why Scars is such a big question mark is that they had 100% win rate all across the board in their stage 4 run, but obviously the region not being as competitive is definitely going to be a big factor. And now for Kemen, they're definitely rocking things through here in this search and destroy. 1 away to evening things up with the scoreline of Scars. And now we see that's going to be Scars yet again with the bomb going in there for the attack. As you can see, a lot of the players coming in from Influence Kemen, that's going to be really big. That really early rotation, fast rotation is really huge coming in from this team, going in there for that retake.
And man, the aggression once again, this time from the Latin American team. Scars absolutely picked apart there on the defense, and that first Peacekeeper that we've seen in play all day. I know it's a gun that the Japanese teams have really favored, but I'm curious to see if maybe they adapt later in the weekend, because it doesn't feel like really a viable option relative to some of the other guns that we're seeing in play. Definitely seems like it's likely played a factor here as well, and he's going to look to beam off the head glitch, but he's forced to retreat. And now the collapse coming through. Influence Kemen 7-0. That is a dominant search and destroy, and I wouldn't say I necessarily counted them out, but I didn't expect huge things out of them on the weekend. That is a big momentum changer for them.
The momentum is definitely going to be in their favor, and just trying to figure out giving that 7-0 to Scars is just absolutely massive, because going into this, they had a 22% win rate in SND. They only won it twice during their stage 4 run, and now it's so impressive to see that they absolutely dominated it against a team like Scars. But now taking a look at what we have over here, kill rounds. It's gonna be kind of equal-ish. Maybe not. I'm trying to be positive here, okay?
Yeah, I mean, Ryo's a player for Scars that completely dominated all of stage 4. He dropped like a 2-point-something KD. He comes away from that search and destroy with 3 kills on the board. Very uncharacteristic performance from him, and consistency across the board for Influence Rage. Man, they've definitely put in the work, and they came to play. The Brazilians looking very strong so far this weekend. We actually, on another matchup, have Skade up 100 points on Almighty. So that's another very surprising score. That's on one of our other broadcasts if you guys want to check it out. But wow, it's been quite a surprising day so far.
I know. 3 straight firing range matchups that we have for today, and really surprising matches and score lines that we saw. So Scars won, Influence Kemen won, Tribe Gaming having that upper hand as well in Q9. We're still trying to figure things out when it comes to that search and destroy. And this is Group C. There's another group that you can check out if you are on YouTube watching live. That's going to be Skate versus Almighty, where, well, looking like Almighty's having a little bit of trouble here in firing range.
Yep. It's been certainly unpredictable to say the least so far. So off to a great start for Stage 5. These teams have definitely not disappointed. You can tell the amount of work that each and every one of these guys has put in is paying off, and you love to see it, especially with $1.7 million on the line.
Oh, that's a lot of money. A lot of pride in the line, because obviously not only are they playing for that cash money, but also the pride that comes along with winning and representing your country. This is the first LAN that we've ever had, and this sets the tone for the years to come. I'm so excited for it.
Yep, it's 3 years in the making. So a lot of teams, I think, got some adjustments that need to be made, but I think even going down 0-1 off the start, it's designed to be group play for a reason. You can bounce back and show that you're stronger on other maps. I think that the map pick can play a huge role in whether or not you're able to get the wins as well. Taking a look at our map counts, Smart Omega was able to close out that win over Stamina Esports, and as somebody who picked Stamina Esports to win the group, things looking pretty dicey right here. I think Mayhem versus Omega going to be a very fun matchup to watch.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to this one. Actually, out of every single one of the matches here in Group A, NYSL Mayhem versus Omega, I feel like is going to be so interesting, because both of these teams kind of scrappy, but also gave us a little bit of a surprise, giving 3-0s all across the board for today. And so, again, we've been seeing so many matches. Group B, obviously, Inco, Stalwart, and Wolves getting that upper hand, where Wolves won it 3-1 up against Strut, and Team Vitality has a donut for today. And now for Group C, no one yet so far having a definite win, but for Group D, look at that. Luminosity and Nova Esports. I did not expect that to end so fast.
That was really, I mean, based on how quickly that ended, I feel like that has got to be a 3-0. Not a surprising outcome. This is a Luminosity team that not a lot of people have been talking about, just because of how good Tribe is, but they are incredibly well-rounded, phenomenal teamwork for them, and that's another team that I think, if they reach their full potential, could potentially be top 3. They could take the whole thing, but it's all going to come down to consistency and the mentality that you have. Strong start for them, though, in a pretty competitive group, especially if Skade's playing that well against Almighty.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying. LATAM is a really competitive region, because going into Stage 4, they had so many Game 5, so many close calls. The points were really close, so I'm not going to count them out just yet. And now for Luminosity, like you keep saying, it's like people always count them out because of the fact that Tribe is just so strong, and they've always been under the shadow of Tribe in these past few years, but looking like they're making their mark here today in day number 1. Is no joke to actually pull off that 3-0 up against Nova Esports. But if you are wondering what is happening right now, Tribe Gaming in Q9, we're going to be having that reset. The scoreline is going to be 6-3 once we do come back in just a tiny bit as we fix things for you guys watching. But yeah, great day so far. I feel like here in this particular group, everything's happening very fast.
Yeah, it's definitely been developing quickly. I'm excited to see all the stat lines once we get everything figured out right here, but it's the rookies have come to play. That's one thing that I have definitely noticed. You look especially at Tribe Gaming, and you've got Vague and Jez, both rookies, both stepping their game up in their first ever World Championships. There's a reason that even coming off of a World Championship, you decide to drop 2 players and pick up these guys instead. Obviously, you got Tectonic, who is very well respected in the North American competitive scene as well. Adding all of that together with 2 real anchor players in Marshy and Bolu, it's just tough to beat. So if we're going back to 6-3, like, if there's connectivity issues, maybe we don't feel quite as good about Q9's ability to close that gap, because if you got Tribe players disconnecting, that changes the equation pretty significantly.
Yeah, that's always the thing in our minds, is that we're finally here in LAN, and let's see how well put together these teams go at the face of adversity. And now, speaking of adversity, before we actually hop into the matchup, I just want to say that Skade and Almighty that game, Skade won that hardpoint matchup, but let's take our attention to our match here, Search and Destroy, where Tribe has the upper hand. One more round for them, and they win this, bringing them into a 2-0.
Yep, score is 6-3 right now, but Q9 getting aggressive on the defense right here. You got 3 Tribe players trapped on the inside of bathrooms. I don't see any way they pull this off. Obviously, Jez finds a big kill right there, but Tang gets pushed up. It's still a 1v2, but Big trying to do the impossible right here. Uling's the only one left to counter, and he's just not in a position to trade at all. He's all the way over in the inside of trailer. He's going to back up and play A. Vague reads it properly, and he's going to make his way all the way over to the B site. So now an opportunity for him maybe to get the bomb down. I don't think Uling's going to have time to make that read. And oh my gosh, a cheeky plant spot out of Vague right here to be unspottable. He's going to go ahead and reposition right here and see if Uling has the IQ to make the read.
I love that plant. It's such an open plan, and now he's going to be so far away. He knows that Oling's going to be a little bit more of a long and passive player, but Oling gets that information. 1v1 as Vague spots him, but then Oling spots him as well with the deagle. Oling gets that 1 kill, has enough time to go in there for the defuse as well. That was a valiant effort coming in from Babe. I understood what he was trying to do, right? Because you wouldn't expect the player to be so far away, wrapping around all the way through mid, but I feel like it was the gun. He was trying to go in for the shots. Didn't quite close it out.
Updated score is now 6-4. As Vague's not going to be able to clutch up. Maybe a little bit overconfident right there. He was just stomping around the map, and Uling makes him pay. The Deagle basically a little mini SKS, so they're going to be able to capitalize. Jez finds the opener onto Dam. Vantage goes to Tribe Gaming once again. They only need 1 round to close this one out. And it looks like the aggressive A push is going to be the move for them once again. Uling on the inside of American. Not going to be able to get any information. Tank going to find 1, find 2. Can he find the third? Yes, he can! And all of a sudden, Q9 in the driver's seat. The bomb has been taken down. Jez on the backside is not going to be able to connect. Tectonic trying to find a kill right here, but it is the lone man, and Uling finds the kill. Just like that, we move into 6-5 territory, and we might have overtime on our hands.
Oh my goodness. Dropping the spaghetti. Please don't do that. Now we're trying to go in there for a question. Q9, having that restart. I feel like that restarted their minds just a tiny bit. They had such an amazing run here so far. But then obviously, Tribe still has the advantage. And now again, very aggressive going in their Tribe, but then gonna be going down 1 by 1 as a 3v3 situation ensues. Number 1 coming in from Q9, that's gonna be Dam going in there for 1 player, really good with the flank.
Dam doesn't know how to go anywhere but forward. He is just non-stop running ahead every opportunity that he has. He's gonna back up. He knows there's a couple players, but he hits the beam anyway. Marshy gonna be there for the trade, but Island knows his location right here. A 2v2 as the Tribe players can be backed up into their spawn once again, and the bomb is down. That is a must retrieve, and looks like Tech's gonna be in a position to pick that up. So now the decision, do you want to make the wrap back toward B or just kind of sit here and try to bait an aggressive push? But Tech's gonna get spotted. I thought he saw Uling, but apparently not. It's now down to a 1v2 for Marshy. We'll see if he can do Marshy things it's not meant to be, and just like that, we're heading to OT.
3 straight rounds coming in from Q9, and that really reset their minds. That's going to be really impressive for them, and now as Tribe kind of struggles to go in there for the attack. Let's see for Q9, being aggressive, that's what they're good at, and now it seems like they're finally getting their footing. And now, speaking of aggression, going there very aggressively, that's going to be Tribe Gaming, but then stops the push. Trade after trade, Tech gets 1, but Dam getting that beautiful double. It's going to be a 4v3 situation where the bomb carrier is going to be right in mid.
It's just a battle of the wall bangs. Who can land the most shots through the wall? It's going to be Q9 coming out on top in that one. The man advantage going to force Tribe back once again, and we see them taking the passive approach. Couple players looks like making the read over toward B. And we see both Tang and Island making their way through. Oh, the whole team They're looking to hit the flank right here. We'll see whether or not Tribe's going to read it. Bolu seems to have an inkling, but they've got a head glitch to work with, and Bolu gets torn to pieces. Vague's going to push up. I don't think he realizes Island's pushed up into this treehouse. And they're forced back once again, but we got a player on the pinch once again. Vague trying to get out of it. It looks like he's going to be able to make his way into trailer. But they got to make a move right now. They have been scrambling for the last 45 seconds.
Well, it's a good thing for them. Time is on their side. 50 seconds on the clock. That is a lot of time to play with. But what a beautiful counter coming from Q9. Amazing read, knowing very well that Tribe is going to be in for that Bravo rotation. And now for them, numbers advantage. But if you're going to be left with the two players, Tectonic and Vague, that is the two people that you can definitely rely on. And now 1v1 is going to ensue here in mid. That's going to be one player. Tectonic wins those. 2v1 though, as Tan finishes through. And may I remind you, it is going to be OT 6-6, but now going to be a 7-6, where Tribe had the upper hand the entire time. And it looks like Q9, they're so close, one round away from shutting down Tribe from this S&D.
Just the look that Uling gave the camera, you can tell there is ice in his veins right now. Trying to pull off the comeback over Tribe Gaming to equalize the series, and that's 4 rounds in a row. Q9 making the right reads everywhere they go, and what do you know, it's D-Chen with the first blood onto Vague once again. Tribe scrambling, they're just trying to find some information somewhere, have not been able to get a read on this Q9 team ever since the reset, and right now, they're going to make the wrap back toward A, but there's not really been much sniper presence. No snipers in play for them. And you got to think that allows for Q9 to take a huge amount of map control, because you can dominate those long lanes as much as you want to.
3-1-2 split, 2 players from Q9 at both bomb sites and 1 through mid. And that's been an absolutely key place where Q9 keeps shutting people down. And now for Tectonic, goes in for the pre-fire off the smoke. Doesn't quite get any information whatsoever. Oling's gonna be right there, especially with the snipe. They're taking their sweet time because obviously number is not in their advantage. And as Oling tries to go in there, that is the information that they need. Tectonic's gonna be in a bit of trouble. Tan gets 1, 2v2, no, 2v4 rather, as the bomb goes down. It's gonna be troublesome for Bo to go in there, especially with 1 down. And there you go, Q9 tries to go in there for the comeback, and Tribe drops the spaghetti and loses this search and destroy, where they could have had a comfortable win. All they needed was a reset.
I mean, that tactical usage was unreal, perfectly calculated by every player on Q9. Seemed to know every angle where a Tribe player was going to be, and that's how you bounce back. You look very, very slow off the start of the S&D, but once they flipped on over to the defensive side, Tribe did not have an answer.
Well, that is definitely one for the books. I mean, a pretty unorthodox way to end the search and destroy, but again, it just took a reset for Q9 to just, you know what, let's breathe a little bit, and that kind of went in their favor. And now for Tribe, what are you going to do in this control? This is a swing around that we keep on saying that they need to go and perform. A 1-1 is the scoreline for today in this matchup in our alpha stream. And if you guys are at home, we're going in for different streams as well. If you're taking a look at our quad feed, we have 4 different streams right for you. So if this one ends, you can definitely go and hop onto a next matchup.
Yeah, right now, Skate and Almighty going at it. They had a reset, and it is currently tied up. So those guys very, very busy right now, but heading into our swing mode, the control, kind of a big question mark in this matchup. Obviously, we didn't expect that to be a super strong mode for the Chinese teams because it wasn't a primary mode that they played throughout the entirety of China Masters, but they definitely showed up in CDFI. They won against some pretty strong teams in control. And I think they've definitely got what it takes. You got to think the momentum carrying with them as well. The one big thing going to be that slaying ability that we've seen in the respawns for Tribe. Hacienda control, though, not one that I would imagine either of these teams has spent a ton of time on and really could result in a toss-up. sometimes we give the advantage to the defensive side, but I've seen a lot of scenarios where offense is actually even better on Hacienda.
Yep, absolutely. You're 100% right. It just, when you're trying to go end a matchup, it's just way easier in the defense, but it depends on the map. When you have a huge map like Hacienda being played in control, a lot of these teams actually try to not play Hasi here because of how huge it is, and it's so hard to be on that objective. But hey, this is a map that could favor Q9 because of how well they can do all the sniper fights. And now for Tribe, having that loss in Search and Destroy, hopefully their hopes aren't too down and just forget about that, have a memory of a goldfish and move on into winning that control.
Yeah, and Tribe has looked very strong in control throughout all of Stage 4, all of the smaller tournaments that they played in as well. They've had no issues, so they absolutely have an opportunity to get this control win. I think if they get the win, the odds of Q9 taking another hard point is just very, very low. But we've also seen their ability to flip a switch and all of a sudden dominate a map. So I think all of it is going to come down to confidence for them. They didn't look super confident through those first few rounds, but once they got on a hot streak, there was no stopping them.
Alrighty. Well, as we try to move on into control, well, it just seems like we're gonna have a little bit of a replay situation here where we're finding Tribe and Q9 still vying for that S&D match. Well, 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 that is going to be one little pickle that we have over here, and looks like the Battle of the Giants is not over yet when it comes to firing range. We keep seeing firing range all across the board for today. 6 and 6 is still going to be our scoreboard, so we're not gonna remember that game a while ago from Q9 and Tribe. We're gonna erase that from our memories and do another restart here. Whew, Bobby, I feel like we cast a curse this our situation. We were like, hey, this game looking like it's gonna be really fast, but nope, this is the second restart that we have here.
Yeah, obviously the difference being pretty big is that whenever you're playing regular Search and Destroy, no OT, one side has 6 straight rounds on the offense and the other side then moves to offense, has 6 straight rounds. It's supposed to be varying back and forth, and obviously with how strong both of these teams looked on the defensive side, it makes sense that you would want to have that switching back and forth. So we'll see what happens, but it looks like Almighty and Skade still going at it right now, so I'm excited to see the outcome of that one, but oh, maybe it's already over. I don't know.
Well, taking a look at what we had over there. No, actually, you know what? It's going to be Almighty getting that win up against Skade, where, if you guys didn't know, we also had a rematch for these two teams, and now Almighty actually got the upper hand in that first matchup. But as we wait for our S&D Q9 versus Tribe Gaming, let's take a look at what we've had in the scoreline so far here. So if you missed out when we had Group A versus Group B, that was going to be a really interesting look into how we're going to start off the day, where Godlike Esports went up against NYSL Mayhem, where an unexpected 3-0 actually happened. And now for Inco Stalwart versus Team Vitality, another 3-0. Now this one's a little bit more expected, don't you think?
Yeah, we expected that group was going to be pretty straightforward. It ended up being exactly that. Obviously, Strike caught us off guard in that map number 1, but it takes 3 games to win a series. So we'll see if they can bounce back. I think that lower bracket matchup is actually going to be a very, very entertaining one, because that's, I mean, not only is it an elimination matchup, but I think the two teams are very well matched as well.
Oh, most definitely. And it was just like a matter of who was going to win that Omega fight versus a team, like one more really big team actually that was really surprised, Stamina, that it was a 3-0. I was kind of expecting that to be in the distance, but again, let's take a look at what we have over here. Here are the brackets that we have for today in the round number 2. Group C versus Group D, and this is Group C, where Scar's having that 1 win, Influence Kemi having that 1 as well. And now for Tribe Gaming and Q9, obviously that's going to be a 1-round win coming in from Tribe in that hardpoint matchup. And Q9, that's what we're trying to look now. If Q9 can secure this S&D again, or can Tribe Gaming go from under them and pull the rug?
Yep, it's definitely going to be a spicy overtime, because I feel like both of these teams are like, oh, we should have had it, we should have had it. And this will be the ultimate deciding factor, because there's no momentum, and it all comes down to the Search and Destroy. Looks like Scars and Influence Kemen going back at it as well. That is the other matchup that we'll see here in Group C, and seeming to be pretty unpredictable as Influence Kemen completely dominating the S&D. Scars looking pretty strong in the hard point, and it looks like we are going to be replaying that S&D as well, so potentially a different outcome.
Woohoo! Here we go. Restarts all across the board, but hey, another chance of winning this again. So let's take a look at that. Mike gets 2. That's going to be really big for them. 1v2 situation. And now for Influence Kemen, you have one more person left. That's going to be key. Going all the way around. Looking like he doesn't know that there's going to be 2 players waiting for him in that Bravo site. Oh, that's going to be really interesting. And if you are curious as to what you're watching, this is the Charlie stream right now. And as we're waiting for our Alpha stream, and there you go! We get to see one more win. Okay, hey, if you're confused, don't worry. We're going to be catching you and filling you in later on as Scars gets that 1 win. But hey, we're finally going into our matchup. S&D Q9 versus Tribe. Hey! How you doing so far, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm so confused, but I'm so excited for the matchups that we have ahead of us. We are going to be hopping into the overtime for Tribe versus Q9. This is the ultimate test because you're back and forth. There's no real type of advantage on that one side as you're constantly flipping. So we'll see if the momentum carries for Q9 or if Tribe truly was the stronger S&D team in the first place, if they can come out on top.
6-6 is going to be our scoreline, and we're going to be going into game just right now. And it's target to 2 because we did go into overtime, and now as Q9 is going to be picking up the bomb right now. Engagement being 1, Tan gets that first opening kill.
Yep, right now it's going to be big for Vague to find the trade right there, and not really much defense over here on the B site, so should be free if they can take down Vague there as well. They do exactly that. And with Island way pushed up on the outside of 10 right now, he's going to be difficult to deal with. Jez is going to have to make a read right here. The bomb goes down, and Jez can't do that. Now down to Bolu and Tectonic. Long-time teammates. Tech's going to find the first one, but the rest of Q9 content to play on the inside of that B site, and gonna be tough for Tech to sniff out everybody remaining. Bolu gonna make the play toward tires. Nobody gonna peek that. Likely a sniper in hand for him, and the longer the clock goes, the more pressure mounting for Tribe Gaming. Tech's gonna try to find that first, but the CBR just not gonna have the range. Bolu gonna drop there as well. Tech doing everything that he can. But who else but Uling there with the Deagle. And right now, an opportunity for Q9 to close it out.
Advantage to Q9 and out for Tribe. They tried to slow things down and try to make a pick, but unfortunately for them, the number is too much coming in from Q9, and now we get to see it. Exchanging, Tribe getting that bomb, being on the attack, being a little bit slow, trying to go in for the information first before going in for that bomb site in A. Bomb carrier gonna be Jez. No information whatsoever yet, but Vague gets that first opening pick. Not only that, Marshy as well. Back and forth coming in from Tribe, and looks like they're having an advantage here. A 5v3 situation so early on.
So interesting that in the entirety of this series, the defensive team has dominated the entire time, and now off the start of overtime, both offensive teams winning. Uling waiting back here, you get some information, a nade connects.
Flashbang.
The flashbang gonna go over as well. Not sure if he was able to, but Marshy able to take down Tang. Trades left and right. Uling, sniper in hand. The bomb is down. Trophy's gonna disappear, but he's still got 3 Tribe Gaming players to deal with. Looked like he had the shot lined up, but just didn't take it, and we've got some more free COD Mobile for you.
Yeah, that was actually a really good play coming in from Q9, waiting for that particular stun to go and pop, but then unfortunately the timing was just not it. Tang went in there before it actually went in for the pop, and now we get to see a 1-1. Race to 3 is a scoreline. Again, OT ensuing. This is the longest search and destroy game that we've actually had so far in this day. And now it looks like they're trying to go in very passively yet again, as Dam goes in there for the wall bang. As they really quite get any information.
Tribe's gonna make the read right here. It is not gonna be easy at all to make your way into this B site. And I mean, right now with the head glitches you gotta go through, you gotta wonder, is it worth it for Q9 to make this push? Obviously, trying to hit the bank shot, but there's Trophy there. Wasn't gonna connect anyways. And The longer you wait, the more opportunity you give Tribe to put on a pinch right here. It looks like they're content to sit back and play things passive. You got Bolu still holding down that A site for as long as he can. And potentially a big gunfight over there, as it looks like Q9 going to go ahead and make the wrap back. If Bolu can find the snipe right here, could be huge, and he does just that. Island's going to drop. And now on the offensive side, Q9 not looking quite as confident.
Q9 took too long to go in there for the rotate. Player number 1 coming in from Tribe. That's going to be Jez going there for the back end, the backstab. He's going to be met by 2 players. Oling turns around, gets him down as Bolu tries to go in for another pick. Doesn't really quite get any. And now they're going to be on even playing field right now, with Bolu still having a really good sight line going in for the defense for Alpha. And now the bomb is going to be ticking down to 30 seconds. We need to see some movement coming in from Tribe. And speaking of movement, Bolu gets 1. Essentially, can finally get that second. He's still alive.
Ooh, Tang with the hop up right there, able to take down Bolu. And now 2 Q9 players left to deal with Tectonic. 15 seconds doesn't look doable. All you got to do is play your life right here. Tang's going to go ahead and back up. And that should be another round going through for Q9. Back and forth, keep in mind, COD Mobile S&D rules, you can go to 20 rounds of overtime. So we may have a lot of gameplay ahead of us.
I mean, if it was the 2 teams that we thought that was going to go to overtime, it was going to be this one right here. But honestly, I thought Q9 might have had an advantage a little bit, but looks like they're struggling just a tiny bit going up against the team like Tribe. And now we're going in there again. We're switching it up where Tribe has a hold of the bomb. And now the story of the game is, if you have the bomb, you're going to be having an easier time on the attack. Kind of like a situation that we saw a while ago, which was the opposite. Defending side was actually easier. And now let's see, very passive from both of these teams.
And once again, Q9 throwing that look where they have no information over on A outside of Tang overlooking the bomb site from the inside of American. Not taking any risks. You don't want any stray nades catching you off guard for a first blood. And right now, Tribe playing the waiting game, starting to look a little bit more confident. Marshy, is he stuck? Oh no. Oh no, that's not good. Marshy trying to get out of that spot right now, and that makes the push a little bit more difficult. He finds himself free from the wood in the top side, and now the push going through for Tribe, but you got to think him getting stuck might force them to second guess themselves a little bit, and now the counter.
Oh my God.
Q9 tears them apart. Tectonic trying to do something to stop the push, but D-Chen going to be able to push on through, and it looks like the defuse going through for Q9. Nobody there to cover the bomb, and they finally take the win in Search and Destroy.
Q9 woke up in those last few rounds, and yes, we had like restarts, multiple restarts, but even in the second restart that we had, they were still killing it. And now they just proved how well they can defend and also really just handle themselves under pressure, even though they were down so much all throughout this S&D. I was honestly very convinced that we are going to take it to around 20, Bobby.
Oh yeah, I had that feeling as well. A little bit glad that it didn't happen, because we're still only 2 games into this matchup, and we still got a lot more COD Mobile to play today. We're not even to the second round of things here in the group stages, so it's a lot more COD Mobile to cover, and it does look like some of the action has started on the other channels. I believe all 3 of the other channels covering action right now, so Vitality off to a strong start, maybe an opportunity for one of those Indian teams to make some noise. And the reset seeming to go in favor of Scars, as the 7-0 has quickly turned around and they are now up 5-1.
Yeah, the resets, man, it's just changing the tides of the games of these teams, as 5-1, well, we're going to be changing that storyline, and Scars might actually just be up 2-0 up against Influence Kemin. And now for our first lower round 1 matchup, Strut versus Vitality. Vitality having that upper hand, 142 and 108. If you guys aren't in our other streams, open it up. You're at home. We're going to be seeing a lot of Call of Duty Mobile action. And if you have multiple monitors at your home, just have each and one of them just over there. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, right in front of you. And now speaking of, we are going into one of our streams right now. This is going to be our lower round 1. That's going to be Strut Vitality. If you're at home, this is a Bravo stream in YouTube right now. As you can see, a very comfortable lead coming from Vitality. Not just that, having the Gravity Vortex shutting everyone down, coming in through spawn.
Yeah, right now, Vitality seeming to have bounced back. The one thing to point out over on Strut, Rasmo has come to play. He was frying in that first matchup for them and now sitting on 24 as well. We have seen a substitution. iFerg back in play for Strut. That was a player that we thought was going to be a major player to watch. His absence could have played a big impact in that series up against Wolves. So we'll see if they can bounce back right here. But Vitality, teamwork on point, and I said, who did I say was the #1 player in India?
Sams.
Sams? Well, he's got 28 kills.
Well,
he is frying right now, single-handedly. Actually, the twins, Sams and Yokos,
yes.
combining for 51 off the start of this one.
Quick maths over here, but obviously we have a similar response on the other side as well. Hisaka and Rasmo trying to go in there as well for the take. But obviously with Rasmo, you're already going to expect that he's really good with the SKS, but with a map as small as this, not going to be able to utilize it very much. And now you can see it. And now for Sam's getting that 29, almost getting that 30. Annihilator up in hand. The retake finally comes through from Vitality, widening the gap even more. 193 and 111, 26 seconds, no contest whatsoever coming in from side of Strut. And now one player though coming in from Strut. Oh, Sam's getting a beautiful kill. How is he still alive?
Oh my gosh, he's dumpstering everybody right now. Finally gets shut down, but he's got a pocket full of streaks. And that's going to work wonders for Vitality. Is, to be honest, you kind of want to be right here. That gives you the early rotations off the late break, and that probably hurt Strut more than it helped them. Not a whole lot of time to be gained. Sam's playing a cheeky position. He's going to be able to find another double kill. 35 kills on the board. This dude is an absolute madman.
Well, you can say that he has a pocket full of sunshine. That man is just absolutely insane. And now we actually saw one player from Strut. Speaking of, my gosh, I can't. It's just yellows all across the board, and Strut just having a difficult time with the gunfights right now. A different Vitality is actually going to be seen right now compared to their first matchup a while ago. Very impressive stuff. And not just that, the rotation was just absolutely key. Scrap points coming in from Strut.
Yep, this is a huge break for them. Sam's doing everything he can, but he gets shut down. Still got that streak to work with, but a big feed. I believe that's 5 in a row now for Strut. They got a lot of gap to close, but they seem to be confident. And I don't really think they're getting outslayed by that much, but they've just not been able to get any of these holds to stick. And iFerg's just gonna kind of let the Hunter Killer go to waste right there. Slides on out. Finds a big kill to lock in the rest of that scrap time, but Random able to shut it down. And it looks like Vitality with the early rotations here once again. They're gonna hop on down into the point, and only 20 points needed for them to close this one out.
iFerg's Pred Missile does not find anyone at all, and for me, it's actually Vitality, when it comes to the gun skills, kind of equal, but they're winning more on the anchoring. And when it comes to the anchoring, it's so important because you're basically dictating where your teammates are going to be spawning, and Vitality did that to perfection, especially in P3, where they had really good control outside of the spawn, and also when it comes to the rotation going to P4. But now we finally get to see signs of life coming in from Strut. 30 seconds left, and looks like they're probably going to be having so many points here so far. 168.
And right there, we see the Annihilator go to waste for Vitality. This lead starting to dwindle right now. Only 60 points separating the two. Was previously 100, and it looks pretty sure that they're going to pick up these last 10 seconds as well. That lead should be all the way down to 40 by the rotation back to P2, and it looks like Strut's got this setup. If you're Strut, you just can't afford to give up scrap time. Unnecessary right there for them to give up, what, 4 seconds, especially now that Vitality only needs 10 more, and we do see the Annihilator get shut down. The Gravity Vortex comes out, and it looks like Vitality going to be able to close this one out. Yoko's going to be able to find 2. Sam's pulls out the Annihilator, and no comeback today. Sam's goes big, and he's going to drop 44 off the start of this one.
Whew. Beautiful matchup here at Summit. Strut had a very hard time where I thought they might have a little bit of a comeback. Did not happen, as anchoring was just too good when it comes to Vitality. And the timing of their score streaks and their operator skills was just so good. But taking a look what we have on our screen, Group B, Wolves and Strut Esports, if you didn't see it a while ago, 3-1, where Strut just surprised us with that very beautiful hardpoint game. Inko Salwar 3-0 against Team Vitality. That's the reason why we're seeing him over here into lower round 1. And now for lower round 1, we just saw them a while ago, Team Vitality and Strut Esports. Vitality just, they had a really good opener here.
Yep, that was, it felt like a must-win for them, and definitely a big win for the Indian region in general. Obviously, Godlike with a little bit of a disappointing start up against NYSL as well. But we got another very high-octane matchup. It's going to be Almighty going up against Skade. Pretty tight in that first hard point, and looking to be exactly the same. And Incendio, that not been sniping for all that long, but he has had a huge impact for Almighty since he started.
Now he looks so comfortable when it comes to that sniper. The right tech definitely his best friend right now, and it looks like 4 players of Almighty is actually very proficient when it comes to the snipes, but it looks like it doesn't really matter as Skade still has that upper hand. SKS seeming like it's still very much strong when it comes to those engagements as Papzera gets one, and now Leosin tries to go in for the kills as Heaven's going to be really low on that HP. 1v1 situation. Now they're going to be playing Ring Around the Rosie as Heaven doesn't really quite spot that one last player, Papzera. The defuse is going to happen, but then Papzera hears it. That is enough time for him to go and cancel that defuse. Beautiful presence of mind coming from Pap.
That's a huge clutch for him right there. We are actually going to head on back to our main matchup, Tribe versus Q9, getting ready to hop into the control. Right now, the momentum kind of slipping away from Tribe, but we know they've got the gunny, especially whenever it comes to the respawns. And yeah, I think that's going to play a big factor in this map number 3. We talked previously, domination is that third game mode in China Masters. So this is not one that the Q9 roster is going to be nearly as familiar with, but the fact that it's Hacienda control kind of equalizes a little bit.
Yeah, that is the mode that is kind of a big question mark, because if we're going in through Slum Search and Destroy, if it does reach map number 5, I feel like Q9 has a little bit of an upper hand, but obviously when it comes to the hard point, it was no question whatsoever that Tribe just absolutely sent them home. And now it's going to be in standoff though, which is going to be a very interesting map to play on. But we do have a guaranteed game number 4 as Q9 just very closely won that S&D in firing range. And now we're finally going in through Hacienda where it's going to be really close because, again, control matchup, we're not quite sure. I feel like Tribe has a little bit of an upper hand, but the fact that the map is going to be Hacienda, that brings it a little bit more of mystery.
Well, you can see the Q9 team strategizing right now, getting ready to hop into the action. We've talked previously, especially for COD Mobile Control defensive side, typically being stronger, especially with there not being any way to flip for round number 5. So we'll see who has that advantage off the start, but with the experience that we've seen from Tribe when it comes to the respawns, you got to think, even if they are on the offensive side, which they are not, could go their way, and they're going to make their way up on the defensive side to start right here. Jez looking to take this top side control, and there is nobody here to counter for Q9, but they're going to be able to find 2 opening kills, and Tectonic, about as straight as they shoot, he's going to be able to take down 1.
Now let's see what happens here as we can... Q9 going to in there for the offense, and now like what we said here is actually going to be really big because when you're on the attack here, it's a little bit easier compared to other maps. And now for Dam gets a beautiful kill, 26 and 25, with B having almost 2 ticks of progress, finally going through, but the cleanup pushes through coming in from Tribe.
Wow, a cheeky spot for Dam, but Marshy sniffs him out right there. 23 lives apiece. Very patient right now as Uling pulls out that SKS as well. Looks like nobody opting to use it yet for Tribe Gaming. They're able to win a couple of big gunfights. That's going to give them the man advantage. Tectonic does not check all of his corners, but Dam going to be able to, or actually D-Chen going to get traded out right there. And now Tribe starting to get a little bit of an edge. Looking like they're definitely comfortable over here on the defensive side. And right now, no map control for Q9. They have gotten pushed up a little bit on this opposite side, and maybe a chance for them to occupy some time here over on A.
Tang was in a very cheeky corner where he actually could have spawn trapped some players coming in from Tribe, and now the cleanup pushes through. Patience is definitely going to be rewarding them as finally some progress, but 16 seconds left on the clock. That's definitely going to be very detrimental for them to go and capture. There you go, A and B, all good, but then the players of Tribe, they're going to be split up just for a little bit, and now for Oling gets that one essential kill, stopping that A push. Bravo still going to be contested just a tiny bit. No progress whatsoever in that Alpha flag, but just as I said, that Bravo and Alpha going to be taken down. 16 seconds. That's going to be really big for Jez to win a lot of these gunfights.
Every time Tribe finds that life advantage, it seems like the Q9 players are able to find a way to trade. Nobody wants to peek Jez around this corner. You got to pay attention to the objectives, though. 3 straight kills in for Tribe, and they only need 1 objective tick in order to get the win right here. Damn going to be able to fire back. Marshy backing up right here, and you got to be very aware of the lives right now. 9-9, and especially this topside control could work to the advantage of Q9. Bolu's trying to sniff him out, and I think Dam's wishing he hadn't gotten himself into this spot. Players for Tribe everywhere, but he's still able to win the gunfight. And if you're Tribe, you've got to get him cleared out. They're not able to do it. Now a 2-life advantage. Another trade goes through. Q9, 7 lives, and it looks like they're going to be able to get this final tick of progression. They do just that. They take the offensive round to start.
Dam single-handedly captured that Bravo flag, giving the advantage to Q9. He was so good when it comes to the movement, knowing very well when to engage. And unfortunately for Tribe, there you go. First big opener for Q9. And now we're going to be switching things up when they're going on the defense. Let's see how well Tribe fares on the attack.
Yep. Definitely puts a lot of pressure on them, with most teams feeling more comfortable on the defensive side. You give up that early offensive round win, puts you in a tough spot. Uling's going to be able to take down Jez, and especially on a map like Hacienda, SKS is going to rain absolute terror onto everybody. And it seems like every angle that the Q9 players read, there's a Tribe player right around it, and they're ready to pick up the kills. Damn, maybe not optimal timing for pulling out that claw. He doesn't get a single bullet to land off of that one. Fortunately, his teammate Tang actually has a Pred and a Hunter Killer ready to go. Right now, Tribe with the 1 life advantage, putting the pressure onto Q9. And right now, they finally get somebody hopped on into A, and this is where we see the opportunity for Tribe to turn the tides.
Oh, that was a good stun coming in from the teammate of Oling. That's going to be really big for him. Get that vital information down. But in player number 2, he's going to be spawned off all the way. Spawn trap is going to ensue. 2 players coming in from Q9. Unfortunately for them, both are being shut down. That was a very close call, and Tribe gets away with it.
Q9 trying really hard to spawn trap right there, and that's, you gotta think, gonna leave them questioning where the players are. Damn nearly finds 3. He's finally gonna get traded out, but Q9 now with a life advantage once again. That main issue for Tribe Gaming, you gotta get on these objectives, and the kills continue to come through for Q9. The control play is absolutely there for them right now. We might have been second-guessing them a little bit off the start of this matchup, but their reads are on point right now. Tribe has no counter, shut down left and right. A dominant round for Q9, and now an opportunity for a surprising 3-0 in the control.
They're so good at the defense, so good at the offense, and now for Tribe, they were almost spawn trapped, but it just wasn't enough to try and break free from that. Looks like they need to find their footing here. And now for the offense, they do have a little bit of an advantage. They need to control 2F. It's just like they really need to, because the fact that they kind of lost that a while ago, especially with a player that Tang, that goes in there always at the very back, trying to go in there for that early spawn trap, that is going to be really essential. Now speaking of, we do have 3 players from Tribe going up against there.
The one thing you got to worry about if you're Tribe, Dam has snuck all the way through. And it doesn't seem like they know where he is, but Bolu's going to be able to sniff him out. That's going to be basically a full reset for the Q9 players. A couple trades do come through, and I think that is a full objective tick over on A. So that's put some pressure on. Uling seems that he just has spidey senses right now, knows where everybody's gonna be. Marshy's gonna make his way through right here. He doesn't get anything. Does get 1 kill off that Purifier, but you gotta be able to find more value. And Dam makes the read, Claw comes out. He gets away with his life, maybe a little bit too aggressive though. He's going to get shut down, and that's a huge kill for Tribe.
That is going to be probably, if Q9 loses this round, that was the reason why. You had a really solid hold here in Bravo and then overextends, and you could have had a really solid defense here, and now it seems like Tribe going in there for that defense, really good when it comes to the numbers. 22 and 16 is going to be the life count here. 1 tick of progress coming in from Q9. There's still a lot of work to do. 30 seconds left on the clock. There needs to be some sort of progress on any of these hills.
Vig, you gotta finish your food right there. Kill that was waiting for him, but allows the teammate to get into position to trade. And Vig on the bottom side, Overchell's there as well. And now top side reigns dominant for Island as his teammates gonna be able to make their way on in. Now the claws coming out once again is Q9. They don't want to play another round. We want to go ahead and end it right here if we can. 2 takes of progression over onto A, which is typically the more difficult one to find. Vig gonna find a big kill to clear things off, and Tribe still has the lives advantage. All you really have to do right here is keep A clear, and there shouldn't be much of a chance for Q9 to clutch this one up. Vig makes the read, he finds the kill right there. Still a 6 life advantage, and seeming like the ball is now in their court. Oh my gosh! 0 seconds! Okay, there it is.
Because we've seen that before, Bobby. We've had like war flashbacks when it comes to that. We've seen a very, very insane comeback happen. But there you go. Signs of life from Tribe. Now it looks like they have finally found their footing. 30 and 30 life count. 125 on the clock very early on. Let's see if Tribe can shut down one more win coming in from Q9.
Thing for Tribe is Q9 still got a defensive round on their hands, and that's definitely where they look more comfortable between the two. They're going to come out on top in those gunfights. On the top side, Island and Uling picking apart Tribe, and they're going to be set to completely reset. No type of progression. Down 2 lives right here. Vig's going to get shredded as well. And now Dam working on some streaks as he's got a hunter killer in his pocket. A couple big trades come through for Tribe, but the main issue, no real map control and no ticks of progression on either side.
Well, they're trying to go and set up for the retake, actually. That's really good because they know they're not going to be winning it if they go up in that spiral staircase. So they're going in through the sides. And so far, so good, especially here in Alpha. Player number 5 is going to be their only problem. That's going to be Island, waiting for reinforcement. But Bola goes in there, goes in for the trade. That's going to be ticks of progress going in from Alpha. That's going to be really good. I'm really liking this play coming in from Tribe.
They're trying to go for the control reverse sweep. Tang has got to win that gunfight. He gets absolutely dumpstered. And now the progression coming in on both sites for Tribe Gaming. And there's no real counter for Q9. They haven't gotten any kills in the last 2 minutes, it feels like. And we finally find a couple for Dichen and Uling, but they've still got a lot to do in regards to protecting. It looks like they're basically just going to give up B for free. Jez with the pre-fire with the claw, going to be able to shut down another one. It was still a 7 life advantage for Tribe Gaming. Looks like a good chance for them to close this one out and push it to around 5.
Dam goes in there again for the spawn trap. Gets a few lives, but not really anything to change the game up. Bolu spams that call, doesn't really quite get anyone there, but knows very well that Island's going to be right up, but then obviously having the upper hand of the second floor, he does win it. Alpha almost going to be captured. 1 minute, a lot of time to play with, and now so many members coming in from Q9 funneling through, giving Tribe a hard time, but they're going to clean things up, but 1 tick of progress, that's going to be good. So 1 big push coming in from Tribe is going to be essential.
Marshy, big jump shot from the water side right there. A 9 life advantage should afford Tribe the opportunity to just play TDM right here. You don't really need to get that ticket progression, but if you want to apply some pressure, you absolutely can, because you only need that 1 take. Q9's going to get rid of the progress, and Jez has managed to sneak all the way through. He's going to be able to find 2, find a 3rd. Can he make it 4 right here? Finally going to get shut down, but he's got full streaks, which is going to be massive. Heading into that final round, only 1 life right here for Q9. No real hope through the smoke. Vig connects, and now Tribe looking for the reverse sweep in the control.
2 rounds in a row. And now when we thought that Q9 had a very huge lead, similar story, don't you think, from S&D? Something that, you know, feel like Q9 just dropped the ball. And now for Tribe, they do have the advantage of being on that defense, but let's see what kind of response Q9 can give us on the attack.
That's one thing about Tribe. They're incredibly resilient and showing that right here. Tang Gonna go ahead and back up, but doesn't play it slow enough. Jez gonna find one. Gets the information with the Hunter Killer as well. That's 2 kills on the board. Q9 has not gotten a single kill here in round 5. Dam's finally gonna be able to open it up right there, but there's Hunter Killers up in the sky. They've got to make this push quick, and if they can maybe stack this B point, might be able to get themselves a little bit more time, but it is costing them a lot of lives in the process.
I feel like that B push could have been so good, but unfortunately for them, did not win the gunfight. So far, Oling actually gets 2 really big opening kills, just providing that first tick of progress in B. And that's going to be for 1 player for Island to go and take it out for Jez. Spots 1. That's a really big kill because that gives him the claw. The claw. That's going to be really big for him if he actually saves it later on.
Now Tribe looking to set up the spawn trap right here. Bolu gets pushed all the way up into garage. The Tribe player is going to go ahead and flood through, and they're trying to spawn trap from both sides if they can. Island trying to force his way through. Uling going to find one, but they can't kill Bolu. He's working on streaks. D-Chen finally going to be able to find the shutdown, but the lives are the bigger issue at hand for Q9. Have not been able to win the bulk of the gunfights. And now an opportunity for Tribe to find 3 rounds in a row. We'll see if they can make it happen as another big gunfight goes down. Q9, they got to get that last tick of objective time over on B, but with a 12 life disadvantage, how much are you willing to afford to Tribe? Dam's gonna hop on, but the Purifier comes out for Marshy. Only 7 seconds remaining. Not a whole lot to work with if you're Q9. They hop on B. How long will it last?
22-2 with 2 seconds left on the clock. He's gonna have some kind of progress, but no, it is just not enough. As Tribe goes in there for 3 rounds in a row, secures 1 more round for them. A 2-1 as we get to see Hardpoint in our next matchup. Can I just say how Tribe played that so well in that last matchup for me? It was going to be Tectonic and Marshy having that crossfire in Bravo. That was such good defense.
Yeah, it felt like a confidence swing more than everything. We saw the Q9 players first couple rounds, they're pre-firing everything, they're snapping, they're turning. They seem to have everything on lock, and I don't know if it was a lapse in communication, whatever it is, but last 3 rounds, they get completely fried. And my, oh my, the rookie Jez. He was the North American MVP for Stage 4, and he's bringing that same level of talent and gameplay here in Stage 5 as he goes 36-15.
Big scores, really big scores. Bolu as well, 31-22. And on the other side, Dam, he has been absolutely great for his team too, trying to go in there for the spawn traps, but he is going to be the only one that tries to do that most of the time. And so it kind of slows down Tribe just a little bit, kind of gives them just a tiny bit of a delay going into the sites, but obviously it didn't work out too well at the very end because for Tribe, they flipped the switch. They changed up and they adapted very well when it comes to going in there, because there was one point actually in the matchup, I think it was their second win, where it was they couldn't fight mid. So they were like, okay, we can't fight mid. It was too strong. So they went into the outside lanes anyway and win a lot of those gunfights. And that is just really good plays right there.
That's the thing about Tribe. We saw it in Stage 4. You see them get down at big deficits, whether it's in a round, whether it's in a series, and they are just such a difficult team to close out because of the way that they bounce back. They make adjustments mid-series, mid-game, whatever it is, and they're just tough to kill. That's just the way that they play, and that's one of the reasons why they're one of the best teams in the world.
Yeah, and speaking of another really good team, one of the best in the world, Q9, struggling in that control, struggling to close it out. And as we saw, it's very back and forth when it comes to search and destroy and control, but the only lopsided game that we actually saw was Hardpoint. And guess what's next? It's going to be Hardpoint standoff. Now, do or die for Q9. You do not want to be in that situation where you're at the lower round 1.
And standoff Hardpoint is Tribe's home. That's where they want to be. That's where their SMGs are really going to be able to thrive, and they have a lot of SMG-oriented players. Obviously, you got Tech that's going to typically play in the long range, but everybody else has the opportunity to pull out the SMG and just fry on the inside of the Hardpoint. So they're going to be tough to shut down. If you're Q9, you gotta, I'm not necessarily gonna call it a choke, but you gotta put that last game out of your mind. Definitely should have been able to close it out. you gotta give yourself a chance at the Search and Destroy, because if you do, you know you're able to beat Tribe in Search and Destroy.
Weapon comp for me is going to be the biggest question mark for Q9.